All right, welcome to Real Dumb.
I
Hope
thought
you
we
can't
had a
see
hot
us yet.
mic. Upset. Not really. That's
Yeah.
nice, good cold opens.
What's up?
Hey, we did it
We're doing a sports one finally.
with two people
With two people.
who have more sports knowledge than anybody that's ever came in this house.
Everyone feels the same about sports as I do, apparently.
The crowd goes wild.
Just two teams going at it.
It's like a real sporting event.
Normally this is a 3-player game, but our third couldn't make it. Nobody in the core group knows enough about sports to get in. So we got Rainer and Brian head to head.
Yeah. Caitlin's fact checking.
If my tablet will work.
Eh,
I am so used to them.
he'll be okay.
Brian does a podcast.
Yeah, we've recently rebranded. So you're hearing this first. The name of the new podcast is going to be called Holler. You can't find us anywhere yet because we haven't posted anything yet. Formerly known as The Snappy Hour. If you were to go to Facebook right now and type in The Snappy Hour, you give us a follow on that, it will eventually turn into Holler. You don't have to refollow us on anything. So guys that are already on there viewing our shitty memes, it will still continue. No worries. That was the number one concern when we announced that we were rebranding. Everybody's like, what about the memes? I'm like, they'll still be there. You don't have to go anywhere else. You're just going to wake up one day, it's going to be called Holler. That's what's going to happen.
And I play Rocket League sometimes on Xbox.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, real cool.
Yeah, I'm just saying. That's all I got going on.
So this is just sports, not sports movies. Just straight up sports.
The sports movie one was kind of fun because we all had little giants at some point.
Yeah,
So
and
for
nobody
each
happening.
question, it was really weird.
It's our impromptu ones are actually some of our best ones. So that sports movie debate is a lot of fun if you want to go back and watch it. But without further ado, question 1.
I don't even remember which one.
Who is the most overrated athlete?
Yeah, who did you pick for this?
Oh, that's the correct answer. He's brought shame to his country, to the sport, even
his
to him,
Chinese family?
even to himself. It's Neymar. He is completely overrated. I will get into why, but he has pretty much even kind of changed the game a little bit based on some antics he has because he's such an overrated little piece of shit.
Okay.
Neymar.
Okay, gotcha. I went with a much more beloved character, and that's what's so sad about this story. Bo Jackson.
Okay.
How odd is that? I'm going to tell you why he's the most overrated.
I don't know how you can do that. He's a two-sport athlete.
Everyone loves him, right?
He won a World Series and I think maybe a Super Bowl. If not, he's played in both. And that's never happened before or ever will again.
Those are both not facts, by the way. Both of those are false. He did play 2 sports. That's
he did.
where
He played. Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure he played for Kansas City.
He did play for Kansas
And they
City.
made the World Series.
No, not with him.
It was in the 80s they made it, and then I think he made Super Bowl with whoever he played with. But he did get hurt, which is something I'm gonna bring up with Neymar. Is he gets hurt a lot. The reason I think he's the most overrated person, we'll get to Bo Jackson. Might as well tell you why. I really think he's overrated. Let me use my actual.
Can
notes
you explain who this is?
Neymar. He is the Brazilian guy from the World Cup that rolled around a lot. He's pretty memeable. He got clipped on the ankle, rolled around. He's more of a worldly figure. I kind of went that way with my most overrated athlete because if the world watches you and you're overrated, that makes you the most overrated athlete in my mind because more people know who you are. He's from Brazil. When you think of Brazil, what do you think of?
Women.
Women and soccer.
Bikinis.
Yeah. You think of women and then soccer. This guy's never won a World Cup. He's supposed to be the next
Revolution.
Pele. He won an Olympic gold medal, but who gives a shit about that? That's amateur soccer, honestly, if you get looking into it. He was the highest paid athlete at one point. A team paid another team just to even talk to him 222 million euros, which equates to about $250 million American. Right there. And it was so that team could win, and they have not won since they got him. They got him to be the star. He's not even the star of his own team. He gets in fights with the fans. He gets injured a lot, and he's just a big bitch. He doesn't take his sport seriously, in my mind, and that makes him overrated. He likes the rock star lifestyle, and that's a problem with me. He's overrated. He doesn't really do much. He's a little kid. He's probably my size. Yeah.
But to be clear, this guy plays for the World Cup Brazilian team. That's correct currently?
He's the captain.
He's so the captain of one of the greatest teams. You have to be great to be on that team, right? I mean, that's
You
a
have
fact.
to be
No,
one of the best
fluky
Brazilians.
people don't
Yeah,
make it.
Sometimes
I mean,
they do. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they take people that play in Brazil just to have those type of people on it. So a World Cup team doesn't necessarily have like the best players, because the best players there might be 5 forwards that are like the best, but you only get like 3 or 4. Somebody has to sit out just based on like their schedule and their stuff like that. But he's never won anything with them. When he was captain, they got 7-1 by Germany in their own national stadium.
Can I ask another question about this guy? How many years has he played, out of curiosity?
He's 2009. So he's
So he's
10,
a 10-year
10 years.
vet kind of guy.
10 years. And that's pro leagues. Brazil, he's been a little less than that because they use older, more experienced players.
Right, okay. What position does he play on this
He's
team?
forward, striker.
Okay, so does he score goals?
Sometimes.
He's got to. He's
Sometimes.
the captain of the team, right?
Sometimes.
Okay. Gotcha.
But he gets hurt and he doesn't help his team win. He's more about his individual style, and he brought shame to the game with his injuries and antics all the time for being the highest paid athlete to get to talk to. He has done nothing for the team that did it at all. In fact, he even tried to leave, but then his dad made him stay, but then his dad wanted him to leave, so he even listens to his dad more than himself.
Gotcha. I mean, it's clear that the guy sounds like a little bitch, but I mean, does that make someone overrated just for being? I mean, they can be annoying. Some of the greatest sports people of all time are assholes, or they're cocksuckers. People don't want to meet them outside the sport, and you might dislike watching them. You might dislike the way they play. I mean, as far as them not winning, soccer is such a team sport. There's 11 on each side. It's not a game that's controlled as much as like a basketball game, so it's really hard to blame a soccer guy for the team not winning. If he's the captain of a World Cup caliber team and he's got a gold medal, I mean, he's at least got some accolades going on.
A little bit, but it's not because he's supposed to be the one that does that, and he's not the one that pushes the team forward.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Bo Jackson for a second, just to throw his name out there. We all, I think, know who Bo is. Late 80s, early 90s, a guy that went both ways, played both Major League Baseball and NFL, and that's a romantic story because hardly any athletes do that, especially to the level or especially to the talent skill that Bo had, which is where I don't want to get confused. Just because Bo Jackson was so skilled at the things he could do doesn't mean that doesn't cross over with the word overrated. Overrated just means exactly this. Overrated means when you say Bo Jackson, everyone knows who he is. Everyone. You played his video games. You played his characters on Tecmo Super Bowl. He was the most dominant athlete on Tecmo Super Bowl, like him and Lawrence Taylor. I mean, if you selected one of them, you're going to win the game. So, like, he even transcends into video games. He transcended into commercials. You remember growing up as a kid, Bo Knows Best, all these different commercials that they did. And yeah, he was a very great baseball player and a very great NFL player, and you don't ever get that. And he's possibly the best to ever cross over. We'll never know because he got hurt. His career ends early, and so now he's like this more of a legend. He's more of a myth. He was a blink of an eye that happened in the game, and that's what's sad about it. So we can never say he's the best two-way athlete. That'll always be Deion Sanders. He just had a longer, more successful career and won Super Bowls and shit like that. So Bo Jackson, I said all those great things. Here's where it goes wrong. The problem is, for a guy that's as well known as that, to have his own video games, he has multiple of his own Bo Jackson baseball games, even to the Game Boy. Tiger Electronics, what are they called? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Tiger Electronics. They made those little handheld games when we were kids. They made this fucking cool game where it was a Bo Jackson game. You played baseball on one top, you flipped it over and played football on the bottom. It was cool as shit. I mean, Bo Jackson's cool as shit. Everyone knows the poster of him with the baseball bat and the football pads on. I mean, there are still dudes to this day that have that like hanging up. It's one of the most iconic posters of all time. All that is the positives about Bo Jackson. The part where I'm coming in about the negative thing is everything was so short. Everything was so short, and it's a sad story. His career was cut short. He had a terrible football injury. He got tackled in a football game, and he never came back and played football again. I already knew his career was short. This is fucking shocking how short his career was. He played 38 NFL games. That's it, 38 NFL games. you guys, even if you don't watch sports, you probably have heard the name Patrick Mahomes. He's somebody that just came up. I mean, you think of him as like a fresh rookie right now is how you think of him. This is his technical third year of playing. But Patrick Mahomes already has 24 games under his belt. Compare that to Bo Jackson, who goes down as like this icon in your head. So it's weird to think, like, when you think of a name like Patrick Mahomes in the NFL, you're like, oh, that guy's fresh, he's brand new. But Bo Jackson is like, that's a very comparable number. Patrick Mahomes only played 14 games less than Bo Jackson as of right now today. That's crazy. Some more football numbers for you. Bo Jackson scored a total of 16 touchdowns. And again, different position. But to throw that to Patrick Mahomes, he's got 65 touchdowns already in that short time. And he's the quarterback, he's throwing. I get it. But still, I'm just saying, a guy that goes down as a legend, this legendary guy that's like, we really do think of him as this icon. He really only played 38 games. He scored 16 touchdowns. Just to hit the touchdown thing again, we'll get into baseball and stuff later, but just to do the NFL touchdown thing again. LaDainian Tomlinson, now we're talking the same position as Bo Jackson. LaDainian Tomlinson, who's a modern era player, has the record for a running back, which is Bo's position, for one season. LaDainian Tomlinson scored 31 touchdowns in one season. Bo scored 16 touchdowns in 3 seasons, or 4 seasons because of the injury. So, 31 touchdowns in one season by LT, only 16 touchdowns ever by Bo Jackson. LaDainian Tomlinson, 2,323 yards during that record season, so 2,000 some running yards. Bo Jackson, his whole NFL career, 2,782 yards. You see what I'm saying? The greatest running back season of all time is better than Bo Jackson's whole NFL career. And it sucks because I don't want to say anything bad about Bo Jackson. I like the guy too. He's a very likable guy, but that's where the word overrated comes in, because it's like, why do we have him on this huge pedestal to the moon when he barely played any games, barely scored any touchdowns?
Let me stop you with the scoring.
Okay.
All right. 3 seasons, I'm pretty sure, is the average length of a normal NFL player's career.
Yes.
Based on injuries, positions, people just getting better, stronger,
Totally
faster.
agree.
So him just playing an average NFL career, that's not overrated. That's kind of expected, especially in one of the most brutal positions that there is. Running backs have the shortest shelf life in all of football because they get hit more than anybody else. That maybe linemen, but at least they're more like pushing. They're not getting.
It's a tough position.
They're not. They're not just getting blasted. LaDainian Tomlinson, you're saying that he was running back. The game had changed at that point. Most of his touchdowns were also receiving touchdowns. So his yardage wasn't yards running. You say he had 2,200 yards. That would be an NFL record. He did not do that. Closest come to that is Adrian Peterson. So his yards are total yards. His touchdowns are total touchdowns. 16 touchdowns in 2, I'd give him 2.5 seasons. If he played 38 games, they might have still been playing 14 games at this point too. So that's basically almost 3 full seasons, not counting resting for like playoffs or whatever. He had a good career, almost averaging 1,000 yards a season. That's a pretty good running back. That's a thing that you want. And you keep bringing up the fact that he's a legend. If you're a legend, you can't be overrated. You did something that was so phenomenal and so great that people are still talking about that. You can take Barry Sanders. His career is very short, but he's considered the greatest running back of all time, and he's not even close to being like top 5 rushing yards or touchdowns or anything like that.
He actually is. Barry Sanders is up there in the yardage, and I learned that just the other day, and I was thinking the same thing. It actually made
7 seasons.
It made Barry Sanders more impressive to me because I thought, damn, his career was super short, and he's like top 10 all time in rushing yards. That's impressive, and that is legendary stuff. And Barry Sanders played at a very comparable time. I'm glad you brought him up. A very comparable time to Bo Jackson. They were playing necessarily the same time, and Bo Jackson did like a sliver. It's like Barry Sanders did all this, and Bo Jackson did this right here. But guess what? We had Bo Jackson video games, commercials, posters. We all still love him. I own a Bo Jackson jersey in my closet. That's why it pains me to even have this argument, but I'm just being real with it, because when I sat down and thought about it, I'm like, man, we hold him on the... And yeah, people call him this legend, but he's a legend because of his personality. And the question at hand is, who's the most overrated? And if you barely had an NFL career, and if you barely had a Major League Baseball career, if you barely had those, you barely have a sample size to choose from, I'm going to call you overrated.
I can't say that because he also won the best individual award that you can, which is the Heisman Trophy. He's a Heisman Trophy winner, where he played, I'm pretty sure, at Auburn, where he was a 2-way athlete. They say he's a better baseball player than he was football player, but football makes more money. So, of course, he tried to do both, and that ruined his career. Neymar, you're saying his video games. Soccer is FIFA. It's all licensed by FIFA. But he's on the cover of that. They have Pro Evolution Soccer. He's on the cover of that. He's the face of an entire nation, soccer-wise, and he can't get it done. Bo Jackson, it sounds like he didn't get his yards not because of like his actual abilities. It's because his team wasn't that good, or his team, they were more team-oriented. and he just kind of got screwed in that way. And there's nothing you can really do about that. You can only do what what cards are dealt. Neymar, on the other hand, they paid 200 and some million dollars just to get him to push them over the edge, and he can't do it. He can't do it for his national team. He can't do it for PSG, which is where he's at now. The one time he won the major soccer championship or anything was with Barcelona, but they also had Messi, who everybody knows about. So if you have Messi on your team, you're automatically going to win. You're just going to be kind of there. He doesn't bring anything to the table.
So if this guy isn't good enough, then why are all these teams adding him? How is he he's not even on the Brazilian
That's why
team.
he's overrated, because they
He's the
think
captain of the
they
Brazilian
think,
team.
they think
He's the
he's
man.
so good that they're willing to do this, and then they get him, and he can't produce. He doesn't produce what they want.
I just feel like he has to be producing something at this point. I mean, if he's been doing it for 10 years, he still has to be producing.
Well, he's not been with the same team for 10 years. He's moved and moved and moved, and he has not been a factor. They think he's going to be, and he doesn't do it. The scouts, the fans, everybody, and he gets ratted on. He makes soccer look like a joke with his fucking antics all the time, and people love him for whatever reason, because he can be a little flashy, and he's rock star status, wears his fucking big old earring, kind of like Bo Jackson in a way. He has that sort of rock star mentality. I think Bo, just because he had a short career, that doesn't mean anything. His career up until that point was fantastic.
Roll this into your closing.
Neymar is the most overrated athlete in the world. You went Bo Jackson, that might be in America, but he might have had a burst or whatever, but that's what makes athletes in America great. You can think of all kinds of people, like Roger Maris. He was a big deal because he had 60 home runs one time. That's all he ever did. Ever. He just did that one time. You can think about, let's say, Madison Bumgarner now in baseball. He was good for a 5-year period, and now he's kind of dropped off and turned into this average person. People are going to say he's overrated. He just had his moment in time, and that's fine. That's how sports are. Neymar is supposed to have his moment all the time in the biggest soccer country, in the biggest sport in the world, and every time they put him up on this pedestal, he crumbles into those little soccer pussy ways, and he doesn't produce, and that's very overrated, especially for the money spent on him, for just the world spotlight that he is. He always crumbles to the pressure, and that's in sports. That's overrated if you do that and you continuously don't produce or do what you're supposed to. So Neymar is the most overrated athlete in the world.
Rainer's going to do this soccer thing all night long. We're going to keep hearing the biggest sport in the world. You're going to do this to me all night long.
No, I'll tell you right now. This is the only soccer
Thank God.
answer.
Get me out of soccer.
It's
That's
the only
fine. I
soccer
played
answer.
fucking soccer.
I know.
How crazy is
Everybody fucking hates it.
that? I played it, dude. I love
Actually,
playing it.
when I was in Texas, every fucking place I went had soccer.
Yeah.
You're like, what's happening? Where?
That's
Look,
the culture.
I enjoyed it.
Getting
It is. It's a
It
fun
was-
culture, dude. It really is.
and that's southern. Okay, anyway.
It really is. Okay, so I told you all those great things about Bo Jackson, and they were all true. It's hard to compare Bo because he's retired, he's old. This guy still plays. We can at least say this. This guy's had a longer career than Bo Jackson. This guy's won a gold medal on his world stage. I mean, those are the things, as a world athlete, those are kind of the accolades you're looking for. A gold medal, a long career at this point. It's a decade and still going. We don't know how long his career is going to be. We do know what happened with Bo. Bo played 4 NFL seasons. He played 7.5 baseball seasons, and this was all due to injury. And Rainer said it himself. He said, well, that's the average length of a running back's career, and I'm glad he brought that up. It is the average. 3.5 seasons is average for an NFL running back. That's the problem. It's just average. Why do we look at Bo Jackson? When you go anywhere and you say the name Bo Jackson, people immediately, they light up. They love talking about Bo Jackson because he's such a great character. They love the myth, the legend that is Bo Jackson, when in reality, everything was so short. I don't think a legend should be considered, he had the average career of a running back. A legend should be like, this guy dominated for so long, or he at least had one record season. What if he would have had that season that LaDainian Tomlinson had that I described, 31 touchdowns, which doubles Bo's career touchdowns in all those years? LaDainian did it in 1 year. If Bo would have done that 1 year and then maybe got hurt sometime in there, you'd have been like, man, he was at once a record setter in football. Bo never set any records in football, not any records. And as a matter of fact, here's how they judge you in the NFL. You get selected to the Pro Bowl. That's the all-star team in the NFL. So out of his 3.5 seasons, 1 Pro Bowl selection. So just one time he made the all-star team. This is also shocking, by the way, as a guy that likes Bo Jackson. His MLB career, he batted .250. That's considered extremely average. If you had a good baseball career, you batted around .300. The great players batted over .300. Bo batted a measly .250. How do they select the best players in baseball? They select them to the All-Star team. Out of his 7.5 seasons, one time he made the All-Star team. So you're talking one-time NFL All-Star, one-time Major League Baseball All-Star, set no records at either, but was a really cool dude and fun to watch. And that's where the phrase overrated comes, because fans get mixed up with, this is fun to watch. They get that mixed up with, he's actually out there doing work, is what I'm trying to say. At the end of the day, as an athlete, you need to create a resume. And so your resume needs to say, I've done this, 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 and this. So this guy's resume is building. It's a decade long now. He's the captain of a worldly team on a world stage. He's won a world medal. Bo, very short career, one-time All-Star in both, average numbers across the board, yet had video games. I don't know any video games of this guy. I don't even know what this guy looks like, as a matter of fact. Bo Jackson still sells jerseys. He hasn't even played a sport in 25 years, and still his jersey sells. I just bought one, like, not that long ago. And that's what makes him overrated. Those are all cool things, but he didn't do anything to earn this legend status other than just being pretty cool to watch. So it's not that he's a bad guy. This guy sounds like a dick. Bo Jackson's cool as shit. But when you're overrated in your sport, people are giving you too much credit for not doing enough, and he's the epitome of that because of all those numbers I went over.
Bo Jackson now hosts a hunting show.
Any facts,
That's what he
Caitlin?
does. Hunting and fishing.
Huh?
Any facts?
I can't get connected, so no, I'm good. I'm
Okay.
just
Hell yeah.
So I'll just
Good,
consider
everything
that
I
a
said was
clean
true.
round. I trust you both.
Give me a beer, please.
I definitely trust Rainer with sports facts, and I feel like Brian researches enough to where he's not going to say anything that's not factual.
Do you have your stylus pen here?
So pretty much, this is tough. Again, partly because I don't watch
That's
sports.
no idea who we're talking about.
No, I understand. I'm not a fucking simpleton, but
You're like
I-
Brian, though. I don't know what these people look like.
right. I mean, I know the name Bo Jackson. I know the name Neymar as well. I think not just from talking to you. Pretty much. I did want one fact check, but we'll go off.
Oh, I
Without
can do
it.
it. What is it?
Can you find any instances, or even how many instances, of Neymar crumbling?
What do you mean by
Being a pussy.
Yeah, like just being a bitch.
Doing
about
a soccer thing.
overreacting? There we go.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that, it's sad.
Well, give me just a second. I'm sure there's a compilation on YouTube, and I'll tell you how long it is. And you can, like, base it off that.
So,
Neymar overreacting compilation. There's one that's 7 minutes 41 seconds, 6 minutes 17 seconds,
Okay.
8 minutes. So
We have a
yeah,
range.
about average 7 minutes.
yeah.
In 10-year career, 7 minutes of overreacting.
That
That's a
doesn't-
lot.
I was about to say, that doesn't even tell how many times.
So, okay, with Neymar, I feel like he's a piece of shit person, and he is probably universally hated by this point by the world, but he's still considered top of his game. With Bo Jackson,
Nice to meet you.
see, I first was, something I know. I was comparing it to, like, I don't know, like a River Phoenix or something, like a career that got cut off too short by injury. And then you started breaking out the stats, and it's like, oh, that's still fucking mediocre. And it's like sorry, I usually don't drink when I judge, but it started so late that I was like, fuck it. So the mediocrity of it, and I feel like a lot of the appeal, and I feel like Rainer, if you would have attacked this, I wouldn't be giving Brian the point, is that he was mediocre at 2 fucking sports where people aren't so much
Mediocre, just one sport.
right. So I'm gonna give the point to Brian. I feel like he deflected all of your jabs, he tore yours down more, and he built his up more.
Okay.
He just argued it better. Michael Curtis, who was supposed to be the third, picked fucking Michael Jordan.
I'm
And
okay with
I
that.
would have
I'm
loved
okay
to
with that.
hear that argument.
I honestly almost picked that just because I don't like Michael Jordan much, but he was really bad at
Overrated,
one
though?
sport.
Right? I mean, it's hard to argue overrated. That's insane.
Yeah.
That sounds like clickbait. It sounds like
Right.
you like titled the
But
article
you
that to fuck with
I could do it. It'd be rough, but you could do it.
So I'm giving
He's just
Brian
talking about his
that
baseball
point.
right.
And his gambling. He's really bad at that too. From what I've gathered.
And I'll crack another beer for question 2.
All right, let's go.
I forgot how I ordered these.
Do with all your-
What
I forgot
athlete?
You wrote a pamphlet with like a trifold.
Question 2 is what athlete most revolutionized their sport?
You go first this time.
Okay, I chose Tiger Woods. Have you heard of him? He's
No.
a golfer.
No, I've never
Matt,
heard
he's a
of
golfer.
He's
Tiger
not an
Woods.
actual tiger.
and
Sadly,
he doesn't live in the
He
woods.
doesn't live in the woods either.
What the fuck?
So it's not
I
his
know.
Rainer
sports.
gets the point.
Yes!
I know sports are confusing, but you gotta hang in there.
Hey, a tiger playing golf would actually revolutionize the sport.
Golf's the one with the pins, right?
Yeah. They do have pins.
You line
So,
it up and
So
From-
like he went to Billy Bob's a lot, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So from records,
Foxfire.
from records that he holds to transcending race in a sport to transcending youth in a sport. I mean, he's the
I'm not Chris.
he's the epitome. I get it. Only a small tidbit of that. No us. Fuck off. So- I'll get into all that after Rainer goes. So Tiger Woods, that's me.
Tiger Woods, it's a good pick. He did kind of, but I know somebody that changed the game, and it is very prevalent to this day. It's I wish I had all my stats that I had before. Steph Curry has changed the game of basketball like no other has ever done it. It is quite absurd. Again, I wish I had some of the other like super analytic stats that I had before, but I have a couple that are just mind-boggling. Steph Curry he's influenced basketball. I can't even imagine.
I'm gonna time out. You guys want to play to 7 since we're down to
As in compared to 5.
Yes.
I would like to still just go 5.
I like
Okay.
5. I think we'll be close.
We don't need to lengthen it out.
Okay.
It is what it is.
I
Steph
figured
Curry.
it'd be shorter with
Yeah,
2.
and I'm
so-
fine with that too.
Yeah, Steph Curry. So you go with your Tiger Woods nonsense.
So, okay, let's just start with this. Plain and simple. What remind me? I mean, I'm very well versed on Steph Curry. Actually, this is my favorite basketball player, so I'm very well versed on him. He has been my favorite player since he broke into the league, and people didn't even know who he was. I liked him then. He's out with an injury right now, by the way.
Yeah, he broke his hand.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
They're gonna be so
That's a
bad.
fucking
They're
bummer.
gonna get the first pick somehow. Steph Curry.
How exactly though has he revolutionized? Is a very big word, and you're talking about a modern player
Yep.
that's like kicking ass. He's won how many MVPs? 1 or 2?
He's won one. He won a
One-
unanimous MVP,
one
which
MVP.
which is really crazy.
And his career,
he might have won 2. He might have won 2.
I'll even give him 2. I don't even know if that's a
think
fact.
he's-
Fuck it.
I know he's won 1. He
Still,
might have got
2 MVPs
Yeah.
ever. He's currently playing. Certainly looks like his career sky's the limit kind of thing.
Yeah.
Winning championships with a
Yeah.
team, but where does the revolutionized part come in? Like, I'm just
the
curious.
use of the 3-point shot and what I like to call spread basketball instead, like a spread football. Without Steph Curry, this probably wouldn't have happened because still nobody can shoot like him. He can shoot the ball from literally anywhere, and I say he revolutionized it. And here's just the couple stats I could find real quick. So when he came into the league, 3 teams overall of all their shots, 26% were threes. Right now, or I think it's either 5 years or right now, I'm probably wrong on one of those. Over half of all teams, once he got in the league, like 5 years afterwards, 33% of their shots were threes. Just from him getting in the league and showing how good analytically having a 3-point threat anywhere on the court with such a quick release can change your game of basketball. Now, threes have been on the rise, but they plateaued right when he started getting the league. And then he finally blew up, and ever since then, it has just exponentially changed. And now, he's revolutionized it because instead it used to be big man, you go inside, you have a guard that can dish and drive. Now, you have perimeter shooters and maybe a big guy, but even with his team, you don't need big guys. You need athletic people that can go out and shoot and then crash boards and get rebounds. Even now, they want like Giannis to be able to shoot threes. Anthony Davis has to be able to shoot threes. And it's because Steph Curry. There's a cool stat I also found. For all the minutes he's been on the floor since he got in the league, his team has scored 4,000 more points than other teams that they played. The next closest person to that is like James Harden, who shoots the ball every time. Steph Curry doesn't even shoot every time. James Harden's at like 2,300. So just the fact that Steph Curry's on the court and you have that threat of a three-pointer instead of a 12-foot 2-point jump shot has changed the game completely. You don't hear kids anymore. They don't say Kobe. They're saying Steph. They're not saying anybody else. They're saying Steph Curry from long range. They just jack threes. And it's all because of Steph Curry and what he's done. His size is an advantage for that. So he's more of a common sort of person, too, for just the mass because he's 6'1", like my weight. And he's the best shooter of all time, and it's changed the game completely because there are more three-pointers shot than 2-point jump shots because of him. It all started after him because of what that shot can do. Tiger Woods, I don't think he ever revolutionized the game. The only thing I can see that he changed was being able to drive further than anybody else because golf is usually, you have par, but you want to set it up instead of driving far. That's a new thing. But still, the best players today, their best game is their short game, their iron game. You can't really revolutionize that. That's a pretty standard practice. Nobody's out there just wailing out fucking 5 irons with some draw on it because of Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods just became the greatest golfer. I don't think that revolutionizes your sport. It might get more people into it, but golf pretty much has been the same since the 1800s.
So we'll start there with the driving, because I'm glad you brought that up. Much like you said, kids are shooting threes and they're saying Steph. I agree with that. They are doing that. Tiger has plenty of those. He has more, actually, than just that. Let's just start with the driving. This is a real thing. You can Google it, fact check this. Have you ever heard of tiger proofing? Do you know what that is? What they basically learned is when Tiger Woods broke on the scene, he freaked everybody the hell out because he was not only winning, but he was winning big. And he wasn't just driving the ball. He was driving the ball further than they've ever seen a guy with that good of short game have that good of long game. Usually if you had a guy driving it far, just some big dude that could muscle it out there, and then it's over after that, right? But Tiger was doing it at these profound levels. He was winning by absurd amounts. Most guys, when they win a tournament, they'll win by 2 or 3, 4, even 5 strokes. Tiger was routinely winning by 12 and sometimes 15, and not just regular tournaments. I'm talking like Masters, winning by 15. Like, that is on a level of absurdity I don't even know how to explain. So anyways, what officials did really fast, and by the way, you're talking about Tiger Woods' career going all the way back to 1997, as awful as it sounds, even in 97, they had a little bit of an issue with this being a black dude out there golfing too. And they kind of pulled back the reins a little bit. They're like, wait a second, this guy's coming in, he's going to clearly take all the records. He's clearly kicking ass. So they did a thing called tiger proofing. And like I said, Google, it's a very known thing. They took all the master's courses, all the professional courses, and they tiger-proofed them by making them longer so that long drives wouldn't just win the game. There had to be, your long drive could get you out there, but then you needed a little bit of skill to get yourself up to the green and then make it happen. So tiger-proofing is a very well-known acronym in the sport that they do, and still, even by adding all the yardage, he still prevailed. And here's just a small example. Augusta is a course that we've all heard of. Compared to what Augusta was 20 years ago, it is now 500 yards longer, and that's the whole course. So 18 holes adds up to 500 yards. It's just mind-blowing that one guy can come up. All the courses have stayed virtually the same for so long, and then one guy comes up, and suddenly we're adding 500 yards to one of the most famous courses of all time. I mean, that's the definition of revolutionizing something. Something else Tiger Woods did, it's not a small tidbit. I was going to say small. It's not small. Something that he did that completely changed the game, totally changed it, is that he worked out in the gym, and golfers just didn't do that. Not a single, they said one golfer ever of all time, Vijay Singh, He would work out in the gym. People would make fun of him. Tiger Woods started in the gym. He recognized fitness was going to win these tournaments. Golf is physical. As funny as much as we want to laugh at it, golf is physical as hell. You got to walk the 18 holes. You got to have all those cuts. All the practice that goes into it. And Tiger Woods brought gym into golf, and that also freaked some of the old guys out. The golden oldies. They're like, we're not bringing the gym into our fancy little sport. We're fine as we are. Well, he proved. Hey, guess what? If you're fit, if you're more fit than that guy and your skills are up, you're not just going to win. You're going to win by 15, which is not a real number in golf. I mean, winning by 15 in golf is like blowing someone out by 50 in an NFL game. It doesn't even sound real. It'd be like winning, 60-10. That doesn't even sound real. That's what he was doing in golf routinely to these guys that had already done it. The amount of records that Tiger Woods has set, they would be more than this whole page. I can't even list them all. So just a few of my favorite records. PGA Player of the Year 11 times. PGA Tour Player of the Year 11 times. PGA Tour Money Winner 10 times in his career. He successfully defended his championship title 24 times in his career. Only 2 players have won 4 majors more than once. That's Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. It's just the 2 greatest golfers of all time. And that's just a little bit. That's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, I've got plenty more here, but like I said, the records thing. Records don't necessarily mean that you've revolutionized a sport, but they certainly help.
No, and with Tiger Woods, I like that you brought up the gym thing, and he's a black guy. You also brought up Vijay Singh, who was also a black guy
yeah.
that was playing golf. So that wasn't like the newest thing. It was just like, it is different, and it hasn't revolutionized it much in speaks like race-wise, I would say. There's not that. But with Tiger Woods, I also think the fact that Nike may have helped him more than a lot of people give credit, because Nike was not in the golf game. So now you have all these different drivers and wedges, and you can change the weight on drivers. I'm not saying Tiger Woods used any of that or anything like that, but that had to have helped that he had Nike behind him to help him make his game better. Now with basketball, it's a goddamn basketball and a 10-foot rim. So it's pretty hard to revolutionize something that anybody can go do. Not everybody can go golf. It's an expensive sport. You kind of have to have a foot in the door to do that. Steph Curry, to me, has done a better job revolutionizing it, because anybody can do what he's doing. It's not like you can... Anybody has a basketball. You go down the street, there's a basketball hoop. There's a basketball hoop pretty much on every street unless you're like downtown. So he's teaching people that shooting the ball is good. Tiger Woods getting to the gym, that's fine. That's not a big... to me, that's not a big deal.
Every player on tour now has gym.
Yeah, they do that.
Every single one.
But just because that he made the courses, on average, I did the math, 25 yards longer. You said the Masters, Augusta's 500 yards, 18. That's roughly 25 yards a hole. That's just hole placement. That probably would have happened anyway. You also have him, he's not doing this, but steroids could have helped make the game longer in a way. There's all kinds of things. I don't think golf is something that gets revolutionized.
But if Steph Curry's thing is shooting threes, if that's his thing that revolutionized the sport, and NBA took a step back, but if NBA took a step back and said, wait a second, this guy's shooting so many threes so well, we're going to have to change the fucking court. We're going to have to back the three-point line up, and we're going to have to make the court slightly longer.
And college basketball has started doing that. NBA can't. There's no more room for them to make a longer.
They can do whatever they want. I mean, they own the sport. They can do whatever they want.
They can't make it whatever. College
My guy, they changed the course. They didn't change it for Steph.
College did that after Steph Curry. When Steph Curry played, the three-point line was our old college.
College has moved back and forth
and
multiple times every
year.
Moved back not just
almost
because of Steph Curry.
every
That's
year
false.
though. But he is the one, since everybody wants to shoot threes because of the NBA and the analytics that come from that game, best players in the world, it trickles down. So now a lot of college basketball, even high school basketball, they haven't changed the three-point line, but it's all about getting that open three-point shot, because analytically they never thought about this. It gets you more points.
Well, Tiger Woods has to play on his Tiger-proof courses and then go win. It's like it would be like the NBA saying, he's dominating too much. Let's see if we can proof it. Let's Steph-proof it. And then Steph would have to then go prove himself. Tiger did that, and he's done that.
And Tiger did, but then he got hurt after it got longer.
And then made one of the greatest comebacks in sports history.
He won the U.S. Open one year, and then he won the Masters. He also got hit in the face with a golf club by his wife, which kind of taints golf. But that doesn't really, but it's just kind of funny. He got hit in the face with a golf club by his wife.
It's pretty funny, actually.
I don't think that he has revolutionized it as much as Steph Curry. There's not been a sharp incline in domination of the sport or just the way the game is totally differently played. You want to drive it, but there's still people that are out there that golf to this day, and they're professionals. Their drives might only be 250, but their short game, their iron game, their fair play game is better than their drives, because basically all you want to do is get the ball into the hole as best you can. When you drive, you just get it closer, but you still have to hit it, and that's why most golf scores, 5 under is a good professional golf score. Not because they're driving further, it's just that's always how it's been. Just him winning a tournament at 20, he won the US Open, I think, by like 20 strokes one year at Pebble Beach, and it's phenomenal. It's a goddamn achievement. People are going to talk about basically until golf Earth is done, because it's absurd. That doesn't revolutionize the sport in any way to me. It's just he was that much better as a golfer. He didn't change it. He was just that much better.
There was a guy named Doug Williams. Do you know who that is? The first African-American quarterback in the NFL to ever win the Super Bowl.
Oh, the Washington Redskins.
Redskins.
When you brought up techno, I was about to say,
See, there you
can
go.
use Washington and Doug Williams. So you can run
Most sports people know the first black guy to win a Super Bowl is Doug Williams. Most sports people, most of everybody knows who broke the baseball barrier. Jackie Robinson, he was the first. Now, as you said, Tiger wasn't the first black guy to play golf, but guess what he was? He was the first African-American guy to win a Masters. So there you go.
But
He
the
is
Masters,
the world's...
there's 3 other. I think VJ won.
Still, he won the
a
World
major.
Series.
He-
So Doug Williams won the Super Bowl. Tiger Woods won his event. He won the Masters. He was the first. So I'm just saying, because you threw a little jab that said, I don't think race is a big deal with Tiger. There was already a black guy named Vijay Singh. Well, it was a big deal because Vijay never won. He never won the Masters, and Tiger Woods did, and that's part of it.
It's the Masters, but VJ also did win the U.S. Open. I'm
Masters
pretty
is
sure
a
he
pretty
won.
big deal.
It is, but there's 3 others that are just as big. The Masters is just the prettiest. It's the same course. It's the only golf tournament. That's a major. It's on the same course every year. So
Tiger
technically,
Woods
it's
was
a little
also the
easier.
youngest to win the
He is
Masters,
the
by
youngest.
the way.
I think what's his face did it this year.
No, he's the youngest as of right now.
He's
That's
still,
a fact.
he's still the youngest. That one guy didn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his fucking name? Spieth. Jordan Spieth wasn't younger than Tiger Woods.
No.
But you don't see many black people golfing. That didn't. It's not. He didn't.
I
Change.
bet there's sure as hell a lot
Didn't
more of them
change it.
now than there
Yeah,
were.
I would see that, but not professional.
I don't know how we could check the stats on that, but I'm going to say that
You
there
totally
definitely
could.
are.
There's totally somewhere that'll tell you.
You might not want to check the stats on that one because that's only going to hurt the argument.
Brian, go ahead and close.
Okay, so first I want to throw a couple jabs at Steph Curry, or not Steph Curry here. Yeah, Steph Curry, because I have to. When you're talking about revolutionizing the NBA and no one else has ever revolutionized, I mean, you said that. You said no
I
one
said
else.
like him. I didn't say never revolution.
Okay, so like
Like
him,
him.
I'll use that. That's fine. I can roll with that. One of the great. I almost picked this athlete, but Tiger Woods was just a better answer. One of the greatest revolutionaries of any sport ever was Wilt Chamberlain, because he dominated his sport so much. And this is a basketball player, Matt. He dominated his sport so much.
No.
Okay, well he was 7 feet tall. Okay, playing basketball 50 years ago, and he was just absolutely dominating. At the time, the lane that you stood in down low was this wide. They would just stand Wilt down low near the basket. You can't stand in the lane; they'll call a 3-second violation on you. They would stand Wilt down low, throw it up high. He would catch it, just put it in. Catch it, put it in. Catch it, put it in. All game long. Set the record, scored 100 points in one game. That doesn't even sound real. That's ridiculous. Scored 100 points. He did so much damage that they took the lane in basketball and shifted it that wide. Now that's revolutionizing basketball because they changed the court. So they didn't change the 3 for Steph. I would actually argue Steph just came in at a really good time. And again, he's my favorite basketball player. But Steph Curry plays in a time where the NBA does not allow people to touch people. The game is nowhere near as rough as what it was when Jordan played and stuff like that. So it's advantageous for guys like Steph Curry to shoot threes because they don't have to drive in. Because nobody can barely get touched. Everything's a foul. These guys just chucks up threes left and right. He didn't change the court. Wilt Chamberlain changed the court. Tiger Woods changed his court. They tiger-proof these courses. There's also a saying called a tiger roar, and that's a thing in golf. They say when you're playing at a golf match and you hear the tiger roar, that is the loudest roar you'll ever hear in a golf crowd, and that means Tiger has just done something special. People will camp out at holes on a golf course just because they know Tiger will eventually be there later in the day, similar to the way they camp out for like concert tickets. All of this stuff is just absolutely unheard of in the game of golf. Let's talk Moneyball for a second in the game of golf. In 1996, the year before Tiger started, the average winning of a tournament was $263,000. As of
What a
2016, after the Tiger era, which by the way, many golfers refer to as pre-Tiger and post-Tiger when they're talking all stats, whether it be money, records, etc., because he took so many records from the game. Like I said, his records would be longer than all of these pages. I named a handful of them. He took so many records from the game that you have to call it pre-Tiger era and post-Tiger era, because if you're talking post-Tiger era, it's just he has all the records. Tiger holds all of the records for everything, and he's still playing, still doing it. But so 263,000 was the average first place winnings in '96. Bump it up to 2016, 1,258,000. And yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of inflation there. I get that, but are you kidding me? It's up 378%. The average total winnings in all of golf. I think this is important too because this is revolutionary for golf. The total winnings in all of golf for the year 1996 was $1,529,000. That's the average total purse. Average total purse in 2016, $6 million. So from 1 million to 6.9 million. That's up 352%. What I'm saying is, by Tiger Woods being so popular, getting that Nike deal that you talked about, which is kind of unheard of in golf. I mean, Tiger Woods getting a Nike deal the way Jordan got a Nike deal. Golfers don't do that. Just the major sports do that. Tiger brought so much money to the sport. Like they say in golf, when Tiger wins, golf wins, because he's so popular. He's brought so much hope to the sport. He's brought them to the young Americans, the young African Americans, but just the young golfers in general like to see this fit guy out there ripping up the competition. So when Tiger wins, golf gets more popular. When golf gets more popular, golf makes more money, and all the other golfers make more money. So Tiger is not only affecting the course they play on, he's affecting the money they're making in their sport. He's affecting race in sport. He's doing it for a very long time consistently. No offense to Steph, he just hasn't been there long enough to necessarily revolutionize it in the way that Tiger has. I still have more records and stuff to go over, but what's the point at this point? I mean, I think you get it. The guys had video games made about him and everything. You didn't necessarily have golf video games the way you have Tiger Woods PGA Golf that comes out in different seasons like Madden. Now you've got Tiger Woods Golf comes out just like Madden, etc. So he transcends all of that stuff. But like I said, I think the big thing is from the gym to the money in your pockets to the course you're playing on to the hope that the child has at home. Revolutionize.
That's a good goddamn campaign out.
Is he running for president?
Change.
Hope. All the buzzwords. I'm gonna jab a little bit at your final argument here. I think the money isn't because of Tiger Woods. I think it's because of the technology we do have. We have Golf Channel now. That's not because of Tiger. It's just available. You can do that. There's channel for everything. You can get sponsorship is a bigger deal than it was when he was golfing or when he started, and then back in the day, it's inflation. You brought that up. I think that's a great point for why golf has more money. It's an expensive sport. It's hard to get into. Not everybody can go out and pay $30 for 3 golf balls and then go pay $20 for 9 holes of golf. So you kind of already has the money in it. Making the course longer, I think that's just all athletes have gotten stronger. No matter what sport it is, they're faster, they're stronger. Steroids are just better training mechanisms that they have available to them. So I don't think Tiger Woods really changed golf. It's still just trying to get the ball in the hole in the shortest, and all the scores are pretty comparable. You might have somebody that has a great tournament. You might have somebody who shoots a 59. He never even did that, and that's a goddamn miracle if you shoot a 59 on a golf course. Steph Curry has changed the game because it is all about shooting threes. You rob Wilt Chamberlain, well, you can't teach height. If you're 7 feet tall and everybody else is 6'3", that's not revolutionizing the game. You're just taller than everybody. It's really, it's not his fault. He didn't revolutionize it. He wasn't like, I'm going to grow to be 7 feet tall today and be better at basketball just because I have a foot on everybody. Just the fact that the three-point shot has gone from the 20% of all shots to 35% of all shots is absurd. And that's just jump shots. That's not just driving. You also said that there's no fouls, so wouldn't you want to take a drive to the layup, to make a layup, and if somebody touches you, you get a foul, and you get foul shots, or you get and one and a free three-point play because a layup underneath the basket's 95% effective, especially in the pro leagues. Three-point shot is not. You make about 40% of the time. It has changed the game. You can't change the basketball court. They're not going to widen it. They're not going to do that. With golf, you have all this room everywhere. You can do whatever you want with earth. I just think just the fact that he single-handedly changes the game and has made every team be able or have to have a 3-point shooter. All the big men have to have 3-point shots. It's absurd. He has changed the game like nobody else with his size. He's taken size out of basketball and made it more common. People are yelling Steph because more people can play basketball. It's an easier game to get into. He's revolutionized it. He's changed all of basketball. It used to be give it down low. Now it's no, give it down low, pass it back out, shoot a 3. If you miss it, you had a better chance to get more points than shooting 2. Steph Curry, he's changed basketball.
I'm gonna go pee before I just make a decision to just go pee. So
Clarification, P.
You can think a lot clearer, once you.
I can see clear. Tiger Woods is my favorite golfer. Fuck Phil Mickelson.
Yeah,
Lefty bastard.
Yeah, you old bastard.
I wish Papaw could be in this conversation.
Just talk about Tiger Woods.
No, about golf in general.
Golf is
If you ever
nobody
need
cares
something to
about it
talk-
until it's like the U.S. Open or
If you ever
something
need
like
something to
that's.
talk about my Papaw, talk about golf. I don't know what to say to my family.
I
Papaw
know
likes golf.
I know a little bit about golf, but it's
You know more than I do. You know how many Sundays in my childhood I spent watching golf while he fell asleep in his chair.
I was about to say, it sounds
watching
very sleepy. I'll just let
it is the prettiest sport of them all. Like there's nothing like watching like just
It's
the
very relaxing.
grounds that they're playing
It
on.
is a lot more entertaining than NASCAR.
I don't know about that NASCAR. At least
I'm
they
I'm
crash.
redneck deep
But
down.
that's
so
the
I'm
thing.
Like,
I'll sit there for like
yeehaw.
And now
4
they're fighting
hours
a
with
lot
my
in NASCAR,
uncle,
too.
just like, I haven't been a crash yet. What's going on?
Well, that's when you take a nap, like golf. You just need to see the last like couple laps or last couple holes. Like that's all it is.
Demonetized.
But they are fighting.
Where
a
are you
lot
from
now.
originally?
I'm from Lawrence County, just across the river.
Okay, I got
Yeah.
you. There's 2 Lawrence counties like locally, right? There's a
Ohio.
Kentucky one and
There's a
Ohio one,
Kentucky.
and you're Ohio. is
Yeah.
what you're saying. Okay, gotcha.
I'm from the rural parts of Lawrence County.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I
Any
hear it.
facts?
Anything you want me to verify? Because they sounded pretty solid on their
Okay.
stats. I'll take their word for it.
Agreed. That's fine.
You know what we could do on the stat thing? I think we're honest enough. If he says something I think is just out there, I'll fucking note it. I'll say it out loud.
You
like,
did.
shit.
You did with the Super
know,
Bowl thing.
yeah, like-
because I just threw that. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm like, that's not right.
Fuck it.
Okay, so
Might have been Dion.
this is hard.
Yeah, it was. He blew both Super Bowl and World Series.
Contrary to both participants' belief, I actually know some sports shit. I don't watch games and stuff, but I like. It's in the pop culture.
I've seen Space Jam.
No, like Steph Curry, for sure. I understood why you picked it. Tiger Woods, for sure. I understood why you picked it. I'm glad you touched on the pot increase, and I thought you weren't, but you were just keeping it in your closing.
Yes.
So this is hard.
I thought you were just gonna say way to bring up the pot, and then just like what?
Somebody said weed.
Tiger Woods is smoking pot now.
That's why I got hit with the golf club.
I mean, if he did all that shit high, like
No, that's when he
That's
Revolutionized even more.
he went way downhill once he started doing that. That poor guy.
but no, like Steph Curry, sure. Everybody's going for threes now. Like, why the fuck weren't they doing that earlier? It's one extra point. Fucking Tiger. I'm gonna give it to Tiger. Like, I mean, that is the definition of revolutionizing your sport.
I just needed to cover my bases with Tiger, and I actually had more. I was like, there's so much about him, I can't even fucking say it all. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like overwhelmed
I
with
mean,
information.
I'm so fact. I hate this guy.
It's
That's a yellow card, sir, Mr. Soccer Guy.
it's for sure. Like, when you sent me that answer, you were like, "It's mine to lose."
Yeah, I just had to cover my
You
bases
just did.
properly.
I mean, sure, Steph Curry is becoming revolutionary, but
Hey, you know what's interesting is that was one of the questions where we knew what we were arguing against, and I didn't know who picked what though, right? And so when there was only two of us, I was thinking like the other one was Muhammad Ali, and I was thinking like, fuck, I'm gonna be arguing against Muhammad Ali. That sounds pretty tough. And when he said Steph Curry, I was like, yes, even better. Like, hell, he's my favorite basketball player. I like Bo Jackson too. I hate like saying bad things about them. I just being a realist about it, you know.
Yeah. So it is 2-0. Nothing really on social. I told Bev to see if our friend Alex wants to watch. He said, bold assumption that I'm watching.
It's gonna be a
Fair
clean
enough.
sweep, I'm afraid. I want to know which one you picked for best sporting event. That's
Well, I had a feeling of which one you picked until you said no more soccer, so now I'm confused. But
well, it has to be the one you didn't
Question
pick.
3.
Which one's this?
What sport most deserves
Yes.
more attention in
Are you
America?
handing a beer? I wish I had a watermelon because, damn.
What?
you gonna smash it? What's happening?
The sport that needs the most attention here in America that doesn't get attention is cricket. And now, I'm not talking your test cricket, which can take days. I'm not talking your T50 cricket, which is really long. I'm talking T20 motherfucking cricket, alright? This is baseball to the max. Baseball is America's pastime. I get it. It'd be kind of hard to replace it. I don't want to replace it. I just want T20 cricket. I'll explain to you the rules of cricket when it's my turn again.
I do not know cricket.
But
I will
Can't
say
wait
that.
for that segment.
T20 cricket. And there are three things that would make, I don't know why Americans don't love this sport. T20 cricket, I'm not going to talk about the other ones, just T20 cricket.
T20 cricket?
Yep, I'll explain.
What the fuck?
I'll explain.
I don't know.
Terminator.
I've never seen that
20
Terminator.
I'll
Yeah,
explain.
we're all the way
They're,
up to T20.
they're fucking getting there.
It's the Bollywood version.
If they can
of
stretch out
T20.
that fucking budget that they're slowly losing, yeah. That dude. Side note: I saw like this fucking meme online. It was like, lesbian Terminator fails box office first week. Shockingly, lesbian Terminator fails first week.
Karen versus Karen.
Anyways, I'm gonna throw a random out here and say adult kickball. Now, is that a little biased because I play it?
yeah.
Sure, but I also know a lot about the sport, and I'm gonna use my knowledge and not my bias to talk about adult kickball. Which, by the way, I just say up front, I mean, if we polled the crowd and said, name a sport you want to play or watch, cricket compared to kickball, it's gonna be a landslide. So mine's already more interesting. Okay.
I don't think it's
Well,
more
let's hear
interesting.
these
Um,
fucking rules.
Okay,
baseball-
teach me how to play T20.
Baseball is boring, and that's what kickball's getting you. I know adult, unless they make a professional league, I know the type of people that are playing kickball. Corey, I don't want to watch him run around. All right, so T20 cricket. I'll give you.
You heard it yourself.
I'll take that out. A lot of people don't want to watch him fuck around. All right, so T20 cricket. It was serious sports talk. So cricket, the batter gets one out, and he's done. So right there, in the fact that once he's out, he's done for the rest of the game, adds so much suspense to just any single bowl, as they're called. So you can get out by hitting the ball and they catch it, or they, get a strikeout and hit the wickets. In T20, you get 20 innings, or 20 overs. So 6 pitches. You get 120 pitches to score as many runs. If you get a home run, it's 6. If it rolls out of the boundary, it's 4. Running back and forth, switching spots, as everybody knows, they run back and forth. You get a run every time you go to the other side. So T20 cricket, one team bats until they're either out of outs or they've done their overs. No other sport just allows a team to go. So you have this suspense, like how good are they going to do? What can they do to make their lead as big as possible? Then the next team comes up. So now they know, exactly what they have to do. You know exactly what they're going to be doing because, they're only down 200. They're probably going to play it safe, but if they're down more runs, they're going to have to, really start yanking the ball. I think it's better than baseball just for the fact that in baseball, you get 9 innings, and if you just go 27 outs, everybody gets 3 chances to bat. These people get 1 chance, or 1 chance every ball, and if they fuck up, they're done. I read somewhere that cricket also has one of the highest, if not highest, suicide rates of any sport because they go up there and they have so much pressure on them because they get one out. They can take one pitch and they're out. That game is completely changed. It is completely a different game because you stack your lineup to have your best 3 go.
I thought it
to
sucked so
score.
bad they wanted to kill themselves, like listening to the rules of this.
No, you stack it so your best 3 go first, unlike any sport. Baseball's kind of there, but your second hitter's more contact versus speed. These are your 3 motherfuckers. Their power, their speed, they're everything you want. If one of them gets out, it is your game plan is just thrown out the window. It's different. Every ball, every pitch, every swing has this moment where you're just like, oh man, that guy could be out. The game's different. Or, oh man, it's a home run, it's 6 runs. He gets to bat again. It's really cool. I think just that suspense, there's no sport that has suspense like that. Because if you're down 20 in basketball or you're down 3 touchdowns in football at halftime, it's pretty much like, oh, there's still hope, but it's going to be kind of hard what they're going to do. And usually it goes away. Cricket's not like that. Just because one team's winning, the other team knows exactly what they have to do. And it's wonderful. They use the same ball. The ball comes back. If it breaks, they get a new one. But even the second team that's batting there are at a disadvantage because of the warp on the ball from throwing it on the ground. It gets divots, and you can't do anything about that. It's just great. Kickball is just baseball. And unless I get people like you, Brian, out there all jacked up and looking good and being an athlete, it's just going to be boring and slow and it might be comical, but as a sport itself, I don't want to watch that. It's not. I won't have top athletes at their sport playing this league. Just knowing what I know about adult kickball, it's just baseball. Baseball's hard to watch. It's a long game. Cricket T20, it's 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's quick. You know what's going to happen. Baseball now, which again I'm just going to compare to kickball. That can go on forever because it just can go and go and go, and it's just long and hot. And cricket's
like your
wonderful.
first argument for cricket, which is very long.
No, it's T20.
Suicidal.
It's not. T20 is not. It has a limited number.
Okay.
It's not Test cricket, which can go on forever. So I'm not talking about that.
They're
T20
like
cricket.
literally days, isn't it?
Yeah, it can go on for days.
Holy shit! Even worse than
You
what
go,
I imagined.
You go 10 outs. It's 10 outs on the Test.
Good
cricket. That's
God.
why I'm not bringing that up. That's stupid.
Yeah.
T20, it's a baseball game, but fast paced, way in your face, way more suspense than every pitch has this.
Okay,
moment.
I appreciate the passion for Terminator 20 cricket. That's great. Just to be clear on the rules of kickball, because you jabbed at it a little bit here, I want Matt to understand. Kickball, though it shares similarities with baseball, as in how many outs per inning and running bases, that's similar to baseball. However, it's a lot dissimilar to baseball. And one of the great things about kickball is exactly opposite of what his jab was. It's a very fast game. As a matter of fact, most games last under an hour, and some leagues even have rules that when the game hits an hour, the game's over. Now, I would argue if the game went to the real professional level that I would like, there is professional kickball-ish, meaning people win money. Once you've won money, you're a professional. I've played in those tournaments. It's fucking crazy. It's wild. It's actually one of the coolest things I've ever been to, and this is why it deserves more attention, because I've been to these events and I've seen the electricity that people bring to this kickball game. It's fun to watch because kickball appears to be a game that you just feel like you could go out there and play. Someone like Corey, saw the league. Okay, I feel like I can go out there and play. He goes out there, he cannot play. That's what you learn really fast, even in the league in Huntington.
Hi, Corey.
Yeah. Corey jabs his Boda box. So, that's what the great thing about kickball. It's like fucking Mario Kart in video games. Everyone just assumes they can just gonna pick the controller up and be great at Mario Kart. You're not gonna be, because you're gonna play that seasoned vet who's gonna make you look like absolute shit. So kickball does have its levels of that. And the electricity, the modernization of kickball is something I want to touch on. It's such a modern sport, as in you can go to Vegas and play in these money tournaments and you feel like you're on ESPN The Ocho in the movie Dodgeball. And that's what's cool about kickball. And it's really not far from making it to that exact thing. And as a matter of fact, I want to bring that up. I'm shocked that it hasn't made it to ESPN The Ocho kind of deal, because there are, as you guys know, spelling bee, chess tournaments have all made it to ESPN. Where the hell is kickball at? That's why it deserves more attention. Kickball is so fun to watch. It's not only fun to play, but it's fun to watch. And cricket, here's the thing about cricket. It's had its chance. Cricket's one of the oldest sports in the world. And yeah, they've modified it. It sounds like they've tried to make it more interesting. But at the end of the day, it's just boring. It's had its chance. It doesn't deserve more attention because it's already been on the world stage forever and ever. It's one of the oldest sports in the world. It was invented forever ago. I know this from sports history. cricket shares a lot of similarities to baseball as well. They both share similarities to baseball, but cricket's just so damn boring, and it's had its shot. People have already. It's not like cricket was just invented and came out of nowhere. Kickball is pretty new, and it's being discovered by people. The leagues are increasing year by year. The size of leagues are increasing. The money that people are winning are increasing. And if you would just go to a kickball game, if you go to one of these tournaments in Vegas, it would be exhilarating, electrifying. Cricket, there's been plenty of chances for tournaments. Nobody's interested in cricket. That's why it hasn't taken off in America. They're just not interested in it. I like to play all sports. I would play cricket.
That's why I think it
I'd
needs
play the
more
fuck out of
attention
it.
because it is the second most popular sport in the world. So with a talent pool that America has, why wouldn't we become one of the better? I mean, you can compare soccer. We're one of the better teams in the world. We just don't pay enough. And money, like, I'm throwing money out the window because a bunch of T20 cricket players, they get paid bank, especially in India, which is basically why they invented it, because cricket was taking so long with these test matches that I brought up, which I don't want to talk about because that shit's stupid.
Can you tell me the exact wording of this question? Can you read the exact verbatim? Because I'm going to use it right now if I know it. Well,
It is what sport most deserves more attention in America.
Okay.
The second most popular sport in the world, which
Gotcha.
is cricket, deserves more attention. Me and my friends we'll sit there, we know there's a final game on. We'll get together and watch it because it's just so much fun. There's so much anxiety. We don't know who's playing, but we pick a team and we see somebody get out and we all pissed off about it because every pitch, every single thing that happens can change the game like that. With kickball, somebody gets out, the next guy goes up. You get to keep going. You get other chances. You're not just done playing the game at all. And there's not a sport like that. And in America, they like that instant gratification. Even when somebody loses, they want that person. They're like, oh, he fucked up. That's great. I don't see why it doesn't have more attention because of that. Because just the fact that we're in that, we should have participation trophies, stuff like that. Cricket is a perfect example of that because once you're out, you're done. You're shamed. They let you know that. They bring it up. And it's a great sport just to show you how sport should be. There should be a winner and loser, and cricket does that basically almost immediately when somebody's out. And baseball and kickball, that doesn't happen. They get out, they get another chance.
Time out.
You get
I double checked.
you see basketball's the second most popular sport because of China. Free
That's-
Hong Kong.
That's not what I'm saying.
It is.
And we
It is
just got
not
banned.
in America. It is what sport deserves the more attention.
Because to be clear, okay,
I thought it said America.
and I didn't think it said America, and so all of you are rambling, and then you said it's the second most popular sport in the world. Well, how much more attention do we need? It's the second most popular sport in the world. I'm trying to bring attention to a sport that people don't know about. There are people.
Everybody knows about kickball. You played
No.
it in recess.
Nope.
And the only people who played it were the ones that wanted to play sports, and nobody else wanted to go play basketball.
Go over somewhere in Europe. Go to France. Go to India. Go to these countries. Ask them about kickball. They're going to think you're talking about soccer. They're not going to clearly understand that you're talking about a totally different
You
sport.
say baseball and you kick the ball, they'll be like, okay, I get it. I understand exactly what.
But the attention needs to be there because they don't know what the sport
and not every
is.
place in the world knows cricket. The only places that know it are old British colonies. Other places don't give a shit. Everybody that plays cricket is an old British colony. You want America, you want Russia, you want China to get into the sport because there's just so many people love it. It's right there. It's pretty easy to get into. You just need some sticks, a bat of some sort, and a ball. And anybody can do that, kind of like kickball. But you have that idea that even especially, I thought this about America, and we'll keep on with it. Because it is what country you want sports to be popular in. It's where the money is. The fact that
Is he
you get
closing
one
first?
chance-
Is he sorry. He's
Yeah,
closing
he'll
first,
be
right?
closing first.
Do you want to close right now, or do you want to keep going?
Oh,
Let me check the time.
I'll close.
Yeah, go ahead and close.
All right.
Have as long as you want. Have at it.
Goddamn questions. This is what happens when the questions were posted 3 months ago, and
Well,
I couldn't
yeah.
go back and
No,
look.
I couldn't even remember if it said in America or not.
Well,
I just heard Rainer say in America.
That's what I thought it
15
was.
times.
That's why I picked. That's why.
it's
honest to
exactly
God,
why I
I
started
picked
pumping the
cricket.
brakes. 'Cause I was like, wait a
That's
second,
why I
am I
picked
missing
cricket.
something?
That's why I picked cricket.
Well, I'm
But
sorry.
I'll go with it.
Okay.
It deserves a lot more attention because of the fact that it is such a fast-paced sport. You say it's slow, but T20 is not. They continuously go. They continuously go. There's no stops unless they're switching bats or who's batting, who's bowling. It deserves a lot more credit in all these different countries, but especially in America because of that gratification that everybody likes in sports where if somebody fucks up, it really changes the game. Most sports don't allow that. Somebody fucks up, they can make it over. It's kind of like an individual sport put into a team sport mentality. Kickball is just kickball. Like I said, you can watch Corey play it, and just because they're bad doesn't mean I want to watch it or it's going to be good or it needs more attention. Cricket, they're top tier athletes. They're swinging as hard as they can. They're running as fast as they can, making great catches. They only use gloves. The ball's tiny. Kickball, it's a giant ball. Everybody plays it. Everybody knows it. Even the cartoon Recess, growing up, kickball got a lot of attention, especially here, because what did they do? And even the opening credits of the cartoon Recess, they played kickball. That's where everybody got together. So it's not that it doesn't have attention. It's just go fucking play bocce ball or something. Cricket deserves more attention. It might be the most second popular sport, but that's because of basically India, where it is. And a lot of things don't come out of India very well. So there you go.
One of the things I want to focus on in my closing right here is, and Rayner's good at doing this, and I commend him for doing this. He's good at, sticking some jabs out there and fuck it, maybe Brian catches them or maybe he doesn't. Maybe they'll just get by, maybe they won't. The point is, he's throwing a lot of stuff out here about kickball, and he's kind of proving my point. He doesn't actually know enough about kickball, which is the argument. Let's back up it. That's the argument. What sport deserves basically people to know more about it? Kickball deserves it, because even you arguing against it, you just don't know enough about it. Starting with, one of the things you've really been harping on is just the speed of the game. Kickball is twice as fast. Your game takes 2 hours to finish. That's what you said. Kickball finishes in 1 hour. It's literally twice as fast. As far as the gameplay of a game, here's another thing to poll the crowd about. Imagine this: a wooden paddle that slaps a ball. Okay, we've tried that. The crowd kind of was whatever in America. There's your America argument. The crowd was kind of like whatever. Here's something cool. Peg somebody with a ball. You fucking hate that motherfucker over there? How about you wing a ball at him and peg him? Prove that you can get him out. This kind of thing has a place in sport. For some reason, kickball is looked down upon as this elementary sport, but guess what? Every sport started elementary at one point. Football was a joke at one point. Even in the NFL era, the first few years, those players were taking the subway the same way the fans were going to the game. You could be beside your quarterback. That's what a joke football was at one point. There's room for sports to grow. Cricket has had its chance to grow in America, and people won't pick up on it because they're so bored of it. And as far as deserving more attention, here's what you already knew was coming. It's the second most popular sport in the world. It's got its attention. It's had its pedestal. It's had its chance. So on a world view, people know what cricket is. If I go to France, if I go to India and all these countries and say, you want to play some kickball? You're going to have no fucking clue. I could actually probably even show them a kickball. They're still not going to have a clue. I show them a cricket paddle. They've seen it. They've played it. They've grown up with it. One of the oldest sports in time. So a couple other things. Athletes in kickball are much, much better than people give them credit for or people even realize. I mean, I can't even explain. And when you go in Vegas, these guys are palming this giant kickball. They are winging it, and these are ex-collegiate athletes. I played a team. This is a true story. I played against a team that had a WWE wrestler as their third baseman, and he body slammed one of our guys. That's a side note. But you see how fun kickball sounds? You've got collegiate athletes. You've got WWE athletes. You've got the guy like me who's college level guy and nothing ever beyond that, and I can go out there and try to compete and hope for the best. But the truth is, there is so much room for this sport to grow. It's a sport that belongs on ESPN The Ocho, and a sport like cricket that's already popular, it doesn't need any more attention. It's already had its chance. Kickball, I could even walk out on the street right now, we could poll 10 people, and if I polled them, they would just be like, oh, you mean that thing we played in elementary school? No, not really. There's an adult version of kickball that gets played professionally in Vegas. It's on the rise. It's been on the rise year by year. The purses that they're winning are getting bigger and bigger, and these teams are starting to travel around and use it as their full-time job. It just needs that extra little push. And like I said, if it could go worldwide, you would see it on ESPN. Kickball's certainly, I believe, more fun than cricket. I would like to play both sports. I would more like to play kickball. It's got a lot of your soccer skills that you love so much in it. And I feel like the rest of the world would agree if they could see it. And that's why it deserves more attention, because they haven't seen it. It's not on that world pedestal that cricket is. And I'm sorry that you read that question
No, that's
wrong,
fine.
man. I
That's
feel
fine.
fucking bad.
I
about
tried
it,
to
but,
bring
like,
it around, but I couldn't
get
do
it.
Yeah, that hurt you.
No, no, I
saying
know.
it was second in the world. So doesn't make for great TV, but I'm gonna give the point to Brian.
All right, it's comeback time.
Yes,
Boston-
that's total
Boston
sport.
Red Sox.
Yeah, dude.
Boston Red Sox.
T20 cricket though, that does sound dope.
It is.
I would play the hell out of it for sure.
Dude, it's super
That sounds
awesome.
really interesting. One out and then you're out of the game.
Yep, it's
Like,
super awesome.
Um,
T50 is not cheap, but it's international. It's like at 6.
Where the hell did you even hear about this?
What, cricket?
T20 cricket. Do you follow a cricket?
I do like
service?
the Calcutta Knight Riders because they're the
What
Knight
the
Riders.
fuck is going
Um,
on? The
It's-
Calcutta Knight Riders.
The only problem,
This is crazy.
only problem with watching it is it comes on since it's in India, which is the top league. It's like 3 or 4 in the morning to find a match.
Oh,
Sometimes.
he has a team for every sport.
Well, yeah.
I'm never in my
You
life
even
gonna
picked
forget the Calcutta Knight Riders.
the
That's one of the best things I've
the
ever heard.
drum corps.
I'm gonna name one of my fantasy teams that. That's
What's your
fucking
favorite
hilarious.
curling team?
My favorite curling team. I do like the Americans because they're just. It's
They
just
look like a bunch
crazy.
of dads.
Yeah, it's really just stats work.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say Jim and Bob's.
basically, we got into cricket because I found out there was a World Cup in like 2010 or something, and we were watching it, and me and my buddy were like, okay, we're gonna buy some pizza. Championships at 2 in the morning. We're picking New Zealand. They're supposed to be really bad. They get to bat first. First pitch. And it's T50, so they get 56 innings.
Oh, okay.
Pitches or whatever. First guy, captain of the team, swings out. First pitch of the game, or first bowl of the game, and we were like, "This is awful,"
Yeah.
because they immediately lost. Like
Right.
it was over, and that's why I like cricket.
It's weird.
Because once one person, your top person's out, it's just you can just hear even the announcers like, "Oh, and that guy sucked." It's
Beverly
over.
said he is also now a Calcutta Knight Riders.
Yeah,
Amazing. I want a shirt. Like I want a hat or a shirt or something.
Calcutta Knight Riders.
The correct answer, though, was real dumb debates.
We could do a sport off, you know, like. It's...
I almost went with this sport called bandy, which is soccer but on ice and like hockey. So it's a soccer field of ice and they play.
Dude,
hockey.
just sign me up for the weirdest sports
Yeah, that sounds
available.
fucking
I'm
rad.
in.
Yeah,
Is it just as violent as hockey?
It
What
kind of.
about
They don't have the
rollerball?
glass, but yeah, they'll hit each other. Yeah,
Death race.
it's got its stuff.
Jousting.
There's also like a professional like tag league they play in like India and Pakistan where they basically like tackle each other to tag. It's crazy. I watch it.
Sick.
Yeah, we all get on ostriches.
I'm in. Say no more.
Yeah, I'm surprised that hasn't been
Ostrich
on the coach yet.
polo.
I've seen like they had pizza tossing. You know, how ESPN always does.
Yeah,
They had
yeah.
pizza tossing this year.
I can't believe they don't have kickball.
They show
anymore.
wall ball just on like ESPN
That's
Plus.
crazy. I can't
And
believe they
I'm
don't have
just-
kickball
Yeah, no
on there.
kickball. That'd be
That's
awesome.
crazy.
What is the best sporting event?
Damon, I went American with this one. You can go first though.
You went American with it?
Yeah.
So did I. And you know what? I went all American. I went the best level of American, and that is the Super Bowl. It doesn't get any
Oh,
bigger than the
yes.
Super
Good.
It doesn't
Good.
get any bigger than the Super Bowl.
It kind of maybe does.
Superb.
I went with March Madness. And we can. Well, let's just
And
go
no
on
one
this.
went with the fucking Olympics.
Uh,
I think
no,
Mikey
Mikey went with
Curtis
no. He
went
went with
World
World Cup.
Series.
Oh,
He went with World Cup. I did not go World Cup. I was hoping you had World Cup. I was gonna fucking shit on soccer so hard. But
Wasn't that
Super
going to hurt you, though? Shit on
Bowl- No,
Sunday?
it's easy. I just shit on Seinfeld one time and it was hard.
Yeah.
But
Like
good.
Starship
Chris was
Troopers.
getting
Yeah, that would be.
mad
I
that
could do
night.
it. But yeah, Super Bowl. What you got?
Well, here's the thing. March Madness, I get it. We all fill out the brackets and we watch the story unfold, and that's cool. I like participating in that. And I would say, actually, if I ranked it myself, and this is in all honesty, I'm not even trying to argue this for this, I would argue, as far as events in America, for sure here, we may as well argue that because that's all it is. So as far as events in America, I would say March Madness is the second biggest event under the Super Bowl because of this. Because at the end of the day, people have Super Bowl parties. Everything revolves around the Super Bowl, including like your next day off of work, etc. March Madness kind of goes on for a while, and I'm sure you're going to use that as part of your argument, because one is a one-day event, and but it is a full one day, by the way. And March Madness is a a month-long event. I get that, but what you hear whisperers of all year long is someone's already asked me, Brian, are you having the Super Bowl party this year? No one's asked me if I'm having a March Madness party, and I can't say. I know they exist, but have you been to a March Madness party? I haven't been to
I
a
have
March.
not.
I've been to B-Dubs and I've seen March Madness games,
Yeah.
but But, okay, so that March Madness parties exist, but guess what? 10 times more Super Bowl parties exist than March Madness parties. Super Bowl is the Disney World of sporting events. March Madness is another cool event. It's awesome. I like March Madness, and I watch it, and I'm a fan of it. But I'll say this, it all comes down to the championship at the end of March Madness, and first of all, I don't even fucking remember who won it last year. I really don't. I follow sports. I feel that when it gets to the championship in March Madness, we don't even care as much as we do about the finality of the Super Bowl. We tend to put all of our ducks in at the Super Bowl. March Madness, we kind of follow to see if anyone upsets anybody, and then we shift away. Maybe the championship, happens, and then I don't know.
And that's why I think March Madness is the greatest. You've hit on two things that I like to bring up.
I was trying to help you out.
First is the bracket thing. Everybody at any office, anywhere, you can go to a restaurant, you can go to anywhere, and you can fill out a bracket. You don't have to know anything about sports, but you do know that UNC is going to be good. I should probably pick them a couple times. Duke's pretty good. You have your heavy hitters. The second thing is, you might not remember who the champion is, but the great thing about March Madness is the fact that, a couple years ago, Marshall made it. And that is such a big deal. And then they won. The first and second rounds are the best sporting event in America because you do have that chance of somebody you've never heard of. The school is getting so much publicity just for playing sports and making it to this national tournament that it is the greatest. It really helps the underdog. Now, the underdog doesn't really ever win the championship, but neither does one really in a Super Bowl. Yeah, you might go against the Patriots, or yeah, you might go against, Peyton Manning or something, and the other team's an underdog. But they're professional athletes. They've made it. They made it to the playoffs. In March Madness, you have teams, they said Marshall, but you have lower teams. You have teams like Grambling State that get to play. You get teams like, Long Beach State. They get to make it. Everybody has a chance. In any community, too. It's the biggest. There's 328 teams that have a chance. And college sports is a little different than pros because of the community involvement. There's so many more people out there. There's people that are Long Beach State fans that live in Minnesota or they live in Oregon, and their team finally makes it and they get a chance. They might not have a chance, but you know what? They do because they made it, and sometimes they win. And thank God UMBC was a 16 and beat a 1. Everybody's been looking forward to that. Everybody wanted that to happen. Everybody looks at these 1-16 matchups. They're like, there's no way. There's no way this poor little school can beat a Duke, can beat a UNC. And finally it did. And that brings even more hope for the next year. And talk about money. The contract that CBS made for this tournament is in the trillions of dollars for years. The Super Bowl might have already had that because it is a Super Bowl. But for a college sporting event...
Yeah, you don't want to talk about money comparing it to Super Bowl. It's the greatest.
But the contract is the longest and most lucrative, I'm pretty sure. Super Bowl bounces around. CBS locked down, not on the Super Bowl, but on March Madness, so they could spread it to 4 different channels. So even then, other channels get more looks, and then you might be more interested in True TV and some court documentaries or, whatever stupid-ass reality show. But that helps out even the TV community. You brought up parties, that's fine, and the national champion is always going to be a bigger school. But the first 2 rounds, and just the idea that everybody had a chance to make it there. In NFL, nobody thinks the Browns is going to make the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. You kind of already know. It's kind of already set. In basketball, you don't know because they play so many games. There's so many outliers. You can have one player dominate a game. If one player in basketball scores 40 points, their team has a great shot of actually keeping it close, or if not winning, if they're a low school. Super Bowl, everybody has a party, but nobody really cares. It's you brought it up. Everybody has a Super Bowl party, but not everybody's watching the Super Bowl. It's just another reason to drink and eat food. Some people are gonna be there and be like, "Oh, who's playing the Super Bowl? I don't care," and then they don't care who wins. You might not remember who wins the Super Bowl. Do you remember who won the Super Bowl 7 years ago? Off the top of your head, probably not.
Probably
because
Patriots.
Probably in this term, but 10 years ago. There's been some dud games though. It's just a thing. Sometimes teams don't even matter. Baltimore and San Francisco played one year. Everybody doesn't remember the game. They just remember the power went out. It's a big deal. But March Madness brings more people into the sport, into this idea that anybody can win. The Super Bowl does not, and I like the underdog story. I think it's just the Super Bowl is just professionals, and it's the same teams almost every year anymore. It's kind of bland.
Can we pause for a second and you give me the exact wording of the question again? Rainer's sweating. He's like, fuck,
It
what
is.
now?
What is the best sporting event?
What is the best sporting event is the exact phrasing of the question. Gotcha. Dude, you are right. You're so right about the Marshall thing. It's really cool that a small school could go into such a big tournament and maybe win a game or two. I'm with you on that, and that's fun. However, you talked so much. You kept going and going, and I think that you had me on the ropes and everything, and I was over here stumbling around. But then you got on to, this is not a fact, by the way. You can fact check this all you want. This is not a fact what you said. You said the Super Bowl was kind of laid out already. We already know what's going to happen. In March Madness, we have no idea. Well, March Madness boils down to the Final Four and the championship game. And if you want to fact check this, it's the same, roughly-ish, it's the same 10 big schools. You've got your UNC, your Duke. Everyone knows the same. You've got your UNC, your Duke, your Michigan, your Kansas. If you take those 10 teams away from your argument right there and then go back and look at the champions of March Madness, you've now eliminated almost all of the champions of March Madness. The top 10 teams in college basketball are always there. It's the same problem in collegiate football. Not that football was your argument, but college sports was your argument. The same thing happens in collegiate football. You only have these 10 major teams that can actually compete as far as the Final Four thing and the championship thing, and the rest is just hogwash. You might get Marshall for a game, and we get really excited for a game, and it's over really fast, and then it's the same 10 teams. The NFL has a famous phrase, any given Sunday, any NFL team can win a game, and that's a fact. That's true. Yeah, the Patriots have dominated as of lately, but the truth is this, NFL teams, and this is a fact, NFL teams get the same exact salary cap. All of them do. So it doesn't matter if you're the Cleveland, if you're the lowly Browns, or if you're the New England Patriots. It only has to do with coaching and skill of the players and where you're putting them, because the Patriots have the exact same money as the Cleveland Browns. And so every year something really cool happens with the NFL. The season starts and you got all these Browns fans going, I think this is our year, because they really do have the hope, because they have the same money that the Patriots have. Now at the end of the day, we all know Patriots have the best coach as of right now, and that's why they're winning a lot, and that's beside the point. But those are just some little facts to kind of jab back at what you were saying. But some things about the Super Bowl. It's almost like a fucking movie, but it's like a movie that lasts for a whole day. They include actors, they include famous musicians in this event. Like 1 year, 1 year when Gladiator was big, Russell Crowe did a black and white theatrical performance, leading everyone into the Super Bowl. I remember sitting there at the Super Bowl party, glued to the TV, he was leading me into this theatrical event, and then eventually we got the Super Bowl afterwards. It's little cool things like that. As far as the betting goes and the brackets, you're right, that shit's fun, and I do fill out a bracket every year, and I've won quite a few times, and it's been awesome. But there is no sport that gets bet on, or no event, I should say, which is the question here. There's no event in all of sports, in all of the world, because I was going worldwide with my argument. Luckily, I didn't have to, neither did you. But all of the world, only one sport gets bet on the most, or one sporting event, and that is the Super Bowl. Some cool things that happen in Super Bowl bets. This is where it starts to get really, really fun, because March Madness is fun, and that's part of your argument, and it's fun because you're saying it's young people. I'm going to use the exact opposite. Man, I'm serious. As a former athlete myself, college sports actually kind of fucking piss me off, because I watch the sport and I get you have to choose your poison here. Either you like watching them because they're a bunch of dudes stumbling around because they're amateur athletes. That's part of it, right? That's an argument. I dislike it because they're a bunch of dudes stumbling around. It makes me aggravated. It makes me feel like I should just go to a gym and play a game against them. As when I watch the Super Bowl, I watch professional sports, I'm like, wow, these guys are like gods on the field. I feel like I'm not on the same level. But back to the betting thing for the Super Bowl, listen to some of these bets that you can do. Only on the Super Bowl can you do things like this. Who's going to win the coin toss? What song is going to be the first song sung during the halftime show, which I haven't even gotten into the halftime show at Super Bowl. What jersey number is going to score the first touchdown in the Super Bowl? It's little things like that. So the Super Bowl is the most bet on sporting event in the world. So that whole bracket situation that you brought up, yeah, it's fun. And yeah, office pools do that once a year. But Super Bowl does it on an even bigger level. And I would argue even more fun, because I'm betting jersey numbers and things like that.
Go back. I'll just take the betting first. Every sport has that. I guarantee you, if you go to Vegas, they're called prop bets, stuff like that. Like who's going to score first touchdown. I guarantee you, every basketball game is the first point going to be 2, 3, or foul shot. Who's going to win the tip-off? who's going to get the possession arrow more than the other team.
I'm a guy that's
Stuff
bet
like
on
that.
sports in Vegas for years. I've bet
Stuff
on them
like-
for a
you can bet
decade.
on anything.
You can bet on anything in Vegas. That's a fact. And if you find a bar that's niche enough, that's niche enough for your thing that you're betting for, then yeah, you might find that jersey number thing. The Super Bowl, every bar that you go into, every
Has those
casino has all of
And
those.
the
Every single
other
casino.
thing I want to bring up is you say there are only 10 schools that make the Final Four, which is the ultimate goal. Even if you don't win the national championship, once your team makes Final Four, that's a great thing. Just in the past 10 years, Loyola Chicago, Butler made the national championship twice out of nowhere. George Mason, VCU. Davidson was a 3-point shot away. Steph Curry will bring it back up, even passed it for a better shot. So every year there's this other team. Let's take the Super Bowl. New England's been 10 times, Steelers have been 7 times, and the Bills have at least been 4 times, I'm pretty sure. So that's 10, 17, 21. There's been 51 Super Bowls. That's 40% of all Super Bowls have had the same 3 teams in the Super Bowl. So you can't say that it's any given Sunday. You pretty much know it's going to be basically any more Steelers or Patriots. The Packers are always there. Sometimes there's flukes. The Seahawks made it. Tampa Bay won a Super Bowl. Here, I'll even throw Oakland. I think they've been in 5 or 6. So now we're at 26. More than half of the Super Bowls. So you saying that only 10 teams, like they're powerhouses. There's powerhouses in the NFL, and the Steelers have done it over decades.
Understand he's arguing. His argument is Final Four teams. When he's saying words like VCU, Davidson, Loyola, all these little small schools he's throwing out there, that's in the Final Four. If you went Final Four to make it to the Super Bowl, I'm talking about the actual
The
champions.
championship, yeah, and that I'm
Loyola's
telling you,
never won, Davidson's never won. It's
Loyola
only the
has
big
actually
teams.
won a national championship about in the 50s or
50
60s.
years ago. It's only the big teams that win every year in March Madness. It's only there
But
there
they-
are Cinderella stories that get close, and the same thing happens in football. Teams get close to winning the Super Bowl, but it's the same 10 teams. It's the same 10 teams in March Madness.
And
Other
college
teams don't
basketball
have a
too,
chance.
like the top teams, they're pretty much professional athletes. The only reason they're not is because A, they don't want to move overseas, and B, there's rules where they have to play in college. Most teams now are one and dones. So you are basically watching the next generation of pro athletes. You just can't watch.
Here's
it
another
to be a
problem.
pro
Here's another
athlete.
problem with
And
that quick
there's
math.
so many more games. Like Super Bowl, like this game might be boring. Let's take the Seahawks versus the Broncos, which was like 53-8 or some fucking astronomical awful game. To put this on first round of the NCAA March Madness, this game's kind of boring. You go to this game and it's down to the wire.
Yeah.
So you have just so many more
I
options.
like
so
jumping
as,
around. That's fun.
So
You're
as
right.
an event, as a whole, there's just so much more parity. There's so much more excitement, and just watching the joy like throughout. And you can just see the momentum going.
I'm
and,
not
like,
gonna-
Who started?
I started.
Okay. Rebut and then close.
I rebut and also close.
Yeah. So just
Yeah, I'll just wrap it all up.
Pittsburgh's been in 8 Super Bowls.
oh,
Yeah.
damn, 1 more percent point. For
Right. That was, if he was going to drive anything home, it was that quick math. And I'm not going to let myself get buried in that quick math because there's lots of holes. The first problem was, you can start to think of your way out of this as I go. The
No.
first problem was, he was comparing the Final Four teams of college basketball to my Super Bowl champions because he only hit on, this team has won this many, this team has won this many. And I said, if you would have went the Final Four teams in football, there would have been a lot more variation to it. So that math was wrong. The next problem that's really off with this math is, you named a handful of NFL teams, and you basically said, well, now you've taken a huge chunk of the pie for Super Bowl wins. And it sounded really good right away, right? But the problem is, there's only 32 NFL teams. So when you name 5 or 6 of them, you've taken a big chunk of the pie. In college basketball, there's like 148 teams, 160 something. There might be 200 teams. I don't know. I mean, it's something astronomical. So that math is wrong too. So I feel the math should be taken off the table because it's not a fair comparison. So back to what makes it the greatest sporting event. Do I have to say any more than Super Bowl commercials? Everyone knows only 30 seconds of Super Bowl commercial costs millions of dollars because that's how many people are watching the greatest event. Like I said, they talk about it all year long. They talk about March Madness too. I really think it's the second most popular event underneath the Super Bowl. But everybody throws the Super Bowl parties. The champion is who they want to see. All the advertising in both, but there are no 30-second commercials for March Madness. There's anything close to that for March Madness that makes millions of dollars. people want to know who's even singing the national anthem. It becomes a big deal. They'll announce it earlier in the year. Hey, did you hear, back in the day, one of the most famous national anthems of all time, that you could fact check, YouTube it, Whitney Houston. It's one of the biggest watched national anthems of all time. So people care about the national anthem, but they also care about the halftime show. That's a huge deal. Everyone knows Michael Jackson's halftime performance when they had that fire accident. Everybody knows the halftime performance of the Nip Slip with Janet Jackson. So they care about. This is why it's an event in general. It's not even about the sport as much as it is just about the event as a whole. If you go to the city that the Super Bowl is going to be played in, which my buddies have done many times and snapped me, and I've seen all this shit. They do concerts for days leading up to it because it's so popular, and it's been known to. You don't even have to buy a Super Bowl ticket to participate in the event that is the Super Bowl, because you could just be in the city and there's concerts popping up left and right. They do a pre-show concert. They do a concert during the game at halftime. So you get a whole ass concert. You get all this performance leading up to it. You're generally surrounded by everyone at a Super Bowl party, and I would be hard pressed to say all of us in this room, no matter how much we do or don't like sports, I bet one of you are going to end up at a Super Bowl party somewhere, because we all do. We're going to want to know what food people made, things like that. Super Bowl does have unpredictability, and I noted that because I knew that you were going to harp on the unpredictability of March Madness. My argument is March Madness isn't as unpredictable as what you make it out to be. It is in the very beginning, because you get Marshall and they maybe win a game, and that shit's fun. But when it comes down to it, like I said, as far as the math goes, the percentages actually would be in my favor on the math if you looked at those 10 main teams out of 180 teams. That's too many teams to only have 10 teams, the same ones every time. So yeah, maybe the same 5 or 6 teams in the NFL, but you're only looking at 32 teams, so that's a very small sample size to go by. There's all kinds of great storylines that go with the Super Bowl. You've got comeback players. You've got guys like Tom Brady that have been doing it forever. Can he do it again? Can they make it? But here's the biggest thing. This is what makes it the biggest event. Yeah, a lot of people flip around the channels of March Madness, and here's what's unfortunate. At the end of the day, not as many people watch the national championship, not even close, as what they do the Super Bowl, which is what matters. The champion is what matters. You like watching amateurs. I like watching professionals. That's a personal preference thing, but that just is what it is. The Super Bowl is the most, this is a fact, the most watched television program of all time. Of all time. So, the Pats versus the Seahawks, for example, that was X amount of years ago, whatever. It holds the record. It holds the current record for most watched television program. So outside of concerts, outside of someone watching something like Live Aid, Wembley, which had viewers in the billions, the Pats vs. Seahawks had 114.4 million viewers because people are interested in that event alone. The last funny thing that I wanted to point out, the Monday after Super Bowl, this is also a fact, is the most called off day of work of any day in 365 days of the year. It's the Monday after Super Bowl because so many Americans are glued to that game and drinking, and they call off the next day. So that's how much interest there is. I mean, I just think by the numbers, that just proves how much interest there is in it. The companies want the ads. They're paying the money for the ads. We want to attend the parties. We want to make the food. We want to see who's coming. And the numbers are, the proof is in the pudding. 114.4 million, and it set the record for the most watched program of all time. Not just sporting, but program. There. Super Bowl.
Again, I'm totally with you. Super Bowl is a great event, but that's what it is. It's not even. It's transcended the idea of being a sport. It is just now a pop culture event. And to me, the question says best sporting event, and this might kill me, but the best sporting event is a thing that happens throughout the year. And then once you're there, everybody has an equal chance. It's all on a neutral court. It's all in this place where anybody can go. You have these small schools, you have these big schools. And yes, you're saying that only 10 schools make it. There are 328 schools that have a chance at the beginning of the year. In the NFL, you already knew this year that the Bengals didn't have a chance. The Dolphins sure as hell didn't have a chance. So you automatically take out 2 schools or 2 teams right there. They might be professionals, whatever. March Madness also, as a sport, if you make the tournament, that does more for your school and your program than winning a Super Bowl does because you brought up a salary cap. Yes, there are bigger schools and they can recruit better, but just the fact that you win a game or you make it, that gives you more of this renounced. I can't even think of a word. Just this more prominence out there as a school, as a program. Everybody does the Super Bowl, or everybody goes to Super Bowl parties. Everybody fills out brackets. There are more brackets probably filled out than people that go to Super Bowl parties. There are billions of brackets filled out every year. Even if people don't do it. I'll take Matt, for example. Don't make this part of your argument. If Xavier's in it, he picks Xavier just because of Professor X from X-Men. And he loves it. He still goes through it. My friends will flip coins just to have a chance to win like $30 at the end of the day just for this. They don't have to watch it, but they look at the scores. They watch somebody else watch it. And just because a lot of people don't watch the national championship doesn't mean that it's not important. And they might be amateurs. It has that community essence to it. Yeah, the Super Bowl is great, but like I said, the same teams are always in it. Some teams haven't even made Super Bowls. It's just a thing. Some people have made national championships, but at least they're given a chance at the end of the year. Even before the March Madness starts, everybody's in their conference tournament. So even if they had a bad season, they can win this tournament and this tournament. There's nothing like it pretty much in the world except for maybe like Cup soccer where everybody's allowed to do it, which I almost picked two. I just think March Madness brings more people together. It brings more communities together. It makes it more personal in a way. And it's just a fun thing. Super Bowl people they get 114 million views, but I guarantee you more people were watching the end of MASH than people actually watch the Super Bowl. That's just a number of televisions that have it on. So I don't think that matters at all. A lot of people just don't care. They're just going to go party. They don't give a shit about Super Bowl. It's just party. And you can make an excuse for any sort of party. But March Madness is a sporting event, true, and that's my answer is March Madness.
Okay.
I have a quick fact check from Beverage.
Yeah, I do too. I have social pulled up.
Yeah, okay.
So he said, I was curious, so I researched it. 55 unique schools have made it to the Final Four. 60
95.
unique,
Sorry.
95. 60 unique Final Two, 36 unique winners. Taking that aside, I feel like, and I hope you both understand, I feel like, Brian, you argued the event. Rainer, you argued the sport a little more. I'm going to give the point to Rainer in the sports debate.
Boston Red Sox, come
Your-
on, baby.
Brian, your argument would have been great in a TV debate. Saying how many people watch it, saying like the halftime show, but I took a lot of that out because it doesn't focus on the sport.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm fine with that. I don't understand the unique thing because I feel like that still hurts him. If there's only been 40 or 90 unique out of...
I said I took that out. It didn't come from...
Oh, okay,
fact
gotcha.
check.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I like the point you brought up where like most people like remember aspects of the Super Bowl even if you don't give a shit about football. For instance, this past Super Bowl, I was at a Dave & Buster's in Los Angeles.
Like, how am I?
and I think it was the Rams versus the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
fucking sucked.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
did suck.
God.
Okay.
So
Sucked
bad.
ass.
You have no idea how
Go
much...
on, get your cat.
Oh, come here, Dio. You have no idea how much energy and fun got drained out of this Dave & Buster's because we were in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah, because you're in the city that was sucking.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
at the end of it, there was just one
Yeah.
dude that was like, "Woo! Fuck yeah!" At the end, wearing a fucking.
And he gets mobbed outside of it.
Oh, I bet he did.
He died later that night.
Yeah.
Your cat is very friendly.
Oh yeah, he's a goblin.
He looks like Weasley,
Oh.
the cat. Like he's
Okay.
mostly white and has orange. Hi, buddy. This is what Weasley's gonna look like when he grows up. Yeah.
Like you said, I can't remember who won the national championship basketball last year either.
I always end up like,
I think it's UNC. Like
it's always cold outside, and that's usually when we're like working out in the gym at that point because we can't play sports outside anymore, and I get bored. And I'm always like working out in the gym and watching the championship because at the end of the day, I don't really give a fuck about it. But Super Bowl, it's like fuck my diet. I'm not working
chicken
tomorrow.
wings, pizza, and
Fucking
beer,
queso
baby.
and
Let's
beer.
go.
I gotta pee first. before-
Okay.
All right, not swept. That's all I care about. I made the speed round, I think, too. So only not done that once.
You're so affectionate, really damn.
Do that. I'm just gonna throw these in here.
Where'd your
What in
hands
there?
go?
Oh, okay.
I'm just letting him live his life here.
He'll stay forever.
Okay, I thought there were going to be three
Oh,
of you.
Virginia won last year.
So there's an overabundance of these.
Okay.
There's like 25 names in here, and only 10 will be used.
10. Are we doing the same thing we did last time?
Kinda, sorta.
Yes! Give me the goats of every sport like I got last time too. It is. Oh, it's so easy.
Some of them are probably misspelled because I didn't use Google.
Okay, I'll ask if I don't figure it out. You're a cat lady.
I am. Cats and babies are just like.
They're like the
me.
same thing almost.
My baby I took care of
Okay.
last night just like slept on me all evening. It was great.
For
Like the
this,
UVA one last year.
there
Was
are
right.
roughly 25 names in here. None of them are basketball players.
It is the same thing.
You're doing your basketball starting lineup.
Oh, yeah, cool.
From athletes
I like
and a few celebrities,
We did this
Um,
one, the first one, but it was movies. And
Okay.
then we
and you're assigning them a position. So I'll hear from you. Close last.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll hear
that's
from
me.
Rainer first. Who's on what position?
What?
And then I'll hear from Brian. And then you argue why your team would beat the other team.
Okay,
Um,
so I basically should just say my position player, and then he'll say it, then I'll say why my position.
Once
was.
we hear who we're
There's-
playing against, then we battle.
Oh, I'm so
there's-
fucked if I pick the wrong position though, and like, oh,
There's
no,
a catch
bad.
with this too. Okay, so these are these athletes at their prime or their celebrity at their prime. You
I'm glad
can
you pointed that out.
you can trade that. You can assign them as coach and draw another name
player.
for a
Okay,
player.
that's kind of cool.
But if you don't assign someone as your coach, you get to pick your coach.
And the coach, if I get to pick my coach, and since I'm playing basketball, I just pick like my favorite basketball coach. kind
Yeah,
of
like
You could.
I don't have to. I'm not drawing it. I get to pick a coach, right?
Right.
Okay, perfect.
But if you draw someone and you're like, fuck, they'd be a shitty
Yeah, yeah,
athlete, I want to make them coach,
Okay,
then you get to draw another name.
okay.
So
I'm not-
draw one.
Draw one. Tom Brady.
Draw one.
That's what I want. I get him a win. I'll draw 18.
There are some that say you pick. That can be a basketball player.
All right, we're doing good here. Oh yes.
Do you have three?
I have 4.
Four. Five and five.
Yeah.
Do you want to trade any?
Nope.
Any you picks?
Yes.
There's a pen. Write down a name.
This is basketball, right?
Yes.
And he can pick a basketball player.
He can pick a basketball
Jesus
player.
Christ.
Any person in the world you can pick. At their prime.
I kind of want to go that basketball route. Boom. My team is so good.
My team is not, but I'm going to get very creative over here. So.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable?
Nah, it's just doesn't want to move.
Like he looks like he could be Weasley's daddy. He's got the same eye color and everything.
Oh, white and orange, yeah, he's good. Uh-oh.
Whoop. Hi.
If you
Oh my god.
no, if you scoop him by the butt,
Uh-huh.
he'll just like let you carry him like a baby.
Aww. That's the best kind of kitty.
He's a dumb idiot. I love him.
Our cat right now is in the bitey phase, and he's also been sick, so I have to give him meds every 12 hours, and he's not a fan.
Actually,
I'm trying to think who a good coach would be.
Yeah, when do we get to pick our coach officially? I think it should be fair. Just shout it out now, right?
Yeah.
You can go first. I have an idea. I'm not.
Okay, I'm gonna choose, and my coach is very important to my team because I drew shit over here. I gotta get very creative, but that's part of this, right? Is getting creative.
Yeah.
Because if your argument is just you got some good athlete, like if you get to pick would you pick
Yeah.
fucking Michael Jordan? Well, I got Michael Jordan, so therefore I win. That's a terrible argument. Fuck
Yeah,
that.
I'm okay.
Probably
with
what
that.
you do.
I mean, I
Probably
got
what you
it's
wrote.
a luck job. Here's where you're about to be Yankee.
I'm already arguing. I'm like, I have to defend these clowns.
Here,
I'm gonna go with Phil Jackson.
damn, that's
I
actually
knew it.
who I wanted to pick.
That's the right answer.
I needed it.
Um,
Trust me, this team fucking needs it.
So I'm gonna go. Since he picked a good basketball coach, I'm gonna go Red Auerbach. He coached the Celtics and has won more championships, I think, than anyone. You want to hand me a beer, please?
This is bad, dude.
All right, so I'll tell you. Last time we did this, I got the GOAT of every sport. So I had Tom Brady, Wayne Gretzky, Cristiano
Jesus
Ronaldo,
Christ.
Kurt Angle, and somebody else from another sport. And I was like, this isn't fair.
Right.
And it was Chris and Corey. They had to look up like what a point guard did.
Oh, no.
It was not good.
Oh, no.
All right, so I'll just lay my team out. They're coached by Red Auerbach, the legendary coach of the Boston Celtics. They've won 16 world titles. He won like 10 of them or 11, something like that. So great coach. It doesn't matter because my team is stacked. At point guard, we have the great Wayne Gretzky. Not only does he score points, if you take away the goals he scored in hockey and just took his assists, he has more points than anybody that has goals and assists combined. So not only can he score, he's looking for the open man, and that's great for a point guard in basketball. For my shooting guard, I gotta go Tiger Woods, probably because he is the smallest of the people I have, and dude, that guy can chip. So if he can chip out a bunker and just hit these crazy close iron shots, I'll take him as a shooting guard. He can probably shoot real well. My lineup's going to be a little different. I'm not going to go your standard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm kind of going to go like a point guard, shooting guard, and then like a small forward combo in a way. I got Snoop Dogg as more of a distraction passer on the outside, going to the elbow and whatnot as my small forward. I guess my next point or person would be a power forward, but I think she's more agile than just kind of getting rebounds. And that's Serena Williams. That girl's thick, dude. She will out-rebound anybody with her box-out abilities, with those gigantic thighs and just crazy athletic abilities. Possibly the most dominant, possibly the most dominant athlete of any sport of all time. And then I got to pick somebody, so I got to get a center. I should have gone Shaq. I thought that'd been more fun, but I went with possibly maybe the GOAT, Wilt Chamberlain. He's 7 feet tall. He's scoring 100 points a game.
Thank God they changed that rule. He can't do that bullshit anymore.
Yeah,
Thank God.
I mean, Kobe scored 81, so I guess it's kind of possible. But that's my team. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is a good team.
I have, here's the thing. I have no control over the names that I drew, so it's all about what I do with my players, which is what this is, because I don't have athletes like this.
To be honest, this is a little bit luck of the draw.
Yeah.
It is. I got pretty
Yeah.
lucky. But he might be playing this team down too. That's what good coaches would do.
So, starting at point guard, you need a small, squirrely person, agile, fast, with some moves. That's what I'm looking for, which is why I have assigned point guard to Tara Lipinski, the figure skater.
She's also the fashion commentator during the Kentucky Derby.
You know how many spin moves? You know how many spin moves Tara Lipinski could do as point guard? That's what I need. That's what I need as my point guard. I need mousy, fast, spinny, jumpy. My shooting guard, and he's sized perfectly for this. Is a guy he's a man's man and loves sports, so he'll know what to do with the ball. This is Joe Rogan as my shooting guard.
God damn.
Joe Rogan's had plenty of advice from athletes on his podcast, so he already has it in his head. Now we're going a little bit taller players because we're starting to go down low. So my small forward, this guy's going to box him out with old man strength. Are you aware of old man strength? It's a real thing.
I got thick like Serena.
Well, old man strength is different, okay? This guy...
Please have who I want you to have.
It's probably worse than you want me to have. Old man strength, I've got Ben Stein down low.
Oh, no.
Why is he even in the box? This is bullshit.
Why do you make him the coach?
Because I have to coach my way out of this disaster. The coach is the most important part of my team, hands down. Hands down. I can assure you my team from here gets better, and this is actually about the order that I drew the team in, so thank God my last two, I've got some real athletes bringing it home, and my coach, Phil Jackson, by the way, is really going to revolve the team around these two because we've got to score, and we've got to play defense, and if anyone can pull us out of this, it's Phil Jackson, the greatest NBA coach of all time. It's not about necessarily the number of titles. It's more about the creativity, and nobody does it better than Phil Jackson, who invented the triangle offense, which is exactly how we're going to do this. My power forward, so now we got to get some muscle. We got to really pull down the rebounds. O.J. Simpson. He'll fucking kill someone for a rebound.
That's fine.
He'll kill. Yeah, he'll kill someone for a rebound, alright?
He'll tell you how he did it, too, if he doesn't get caught.
For my center of my basketball team, I've got to have another fighter, all right? I'm already trying to murder the boards for the rebounds. Now I need a fighter down low that's not going to let anybody get near the rim, and who better to knock you on your ass than George Foreman?
At least you got
big.
it. That's good.
He's big, and he's not going to allow you to come to the bucket. And behind Phil Jackson, you may laugh at Tara Lipinski, but all she has to do is fairy spin, flip the ball to one of these guys.
Nah, okay, so if they're going against each other, just matchup-wise, I have an advantage basically across the board. So first off, George Foreman, let's just go O.J. Simpson real quick. If he's going to murder somebody, that's an automatic disqualification, no matter who I have on the court or what's going on. But we'll take that. I know what you mean. He's not that big. I honestly think him and Serena might be
Do
kind of the same.
A bench warmer in case
No.
OJ kills him?
No, I think they're comparable in size. I think OJ.
You might
be,
argue that OJ fouled the guy, and he might argue he's innocent of the foul.
Yeah, I get that, and then he'll get caught 10 years later stealing his own shit after
Your
he
bench
sold
warmer
it.
is Dale Earnhardt Jr.
But I'm pretty sure what I have going for me is like you said, your coach. The triangle and two is not going to work with who you have because you don't have an elite scorer like he's always had with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Your team has nobody that's going to do that. I will shut down your point guard with Wayne Gretzky. Not only is he a great offensive player, he doesn't take no shit, dude. He gets in fights. He will personally just harass her the whole time, and he knows his way around getting fouls, so he can totally body check and kind of be rough with her. So that's going to be no issue at all. Ray Auerbach, reason I picked him, and I almost went with Bill Russell, but I was like, Walt Chamberlain's a little bit better than that guy. So he already knows how to dish it down to somebody that's taller than everybody, and 7 feet, George Foreman's probably 6'4". I got, 8 inches of just pure height where you just do this. George Foreman totally can't jump. He's a heavyweight. He's not learning how to jump. You don't do that in boxing. I just have a better team. Only weak link, I'll even tell you, is Tiger Woods. But you know what? He's the greatest, and nobody wants to fuck with him because his wife probably come after you with a golf club. Because you fuck with him, he's going to get in trouble.
Okay, well,
warning.
Guess what? That's a foul. That's a foul if you come at him with a golf club. So there, that one's X'd out. As far as the luck of the draw, I can't help it that you drew better athletes at their sports. But let me tell you this. Just because you drew Wayne Gretzky, who can fucking slap a puck, doesn't mean that he can shoot a basketball, alright? He's a Canadian white dude. He's not going to fucking go out there
Hey, I've
and
heard of
drain
Steve
threes.
Nash. Steve Nash
Yeah.
is right up there, and this guy passes. He has more assists than people have goals and assists.
Yeah,
in
well,
his
just
sport.
because
So
they
he's
were
just
better
passing his
at
point
just
guard.
because they were better at their sport
He's
doesn't
point
mean that
guard.
they're going to be good at basketball. So I've got to coach my way around it. Phil Jackson is famous for making what's called the triangle offense, which revolves outside to inside, and I've got to use my inside guys who are legit athletes. O.J. Simpson and George Foreman. Phil will find a way to score with them. Phil makes somebodies out of nobodies. You heard of Tony Kukoc? Well, guess what happened when Phil Jackson and he went away from the Bulls? You never heard of Tony Kukoc
Yeah,
again.
it-
Phil
it-
Jackson made it happen.
You might go
And he's
inside,
gonna
but they're
make
going to
it
get
happen.
smothered with
He's
my
gonna
height
make it happen with
and
OJ
thick-ass
and George
thighs.
Foreman.
It's just you're not even going to see OJ or George Foreman down there. They're going to be able to push it back out to you, whoever your Tony Kukoc is. Tara Lipinski are all 5'0" of her.
Yeah, just
and her
because
fancy
Tiger Woods can
fucking
hit a
app.
golf ball doesn't mean that he can dribble a basketball around. So we have to just throw that.
He has
throw
apps to
that
dribble.
out.
He can just pass. He can just lob it up. He's good at lobs. He's good at chips. He's good at fucking.
Phil
little push
Jackson's
shots.
the greatest NBA coach of all time. He will control the clock. He will fight with the big guys down low who are big bruisers. He will figure out a way to score. He will figure out a way to shut. You only have one basketball player here, and that's Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah,
The
that's
rest are
more
just-
than you have.
It's one more than I have.
Snoop Dogg. They're gonna have the greatest time because he's not.
Snoop
you
Dogg
might
weighs
have,
120 pounds.
Yeah,
he's
that's
not a
why
factor
he's
in
gonna be
this.
small forward, running around.
He's
He's
not
gonna
a
be
factor
fucking
in
Klay
this.
Thompson out there. And I will argue Red Auerbach might be a better coach than Phil Jackson because Red Auerbach,
Yeah, well,
he
he's
might
not.
have had
He's
he
not.
might have had Bill Russell,
I
but
need
Phil
a way.
Jackson didn't win
I need
without
a way
Michael
to
Jordan or
shut
Kobe.
Wilt Chamberlain down,
He did-
and that's
he did
why
never
that's
do
why I picked the best coach because as long as I shut him down.
Two great arguments. That was everything I hoped it would be. That was a lot of fun. Drawing had a lot to do with it. I'm going to give the point to Rayner.
I forgot that we were on the clock. I wouldn't have let him talk so long. He's
I
talked
didn't know
so
we were on the
much.
clock.
I know. You say so much so fast, and like some of it's bullshit in the middle, but you go so fast beyond. It's like I'm trying to note it, and then it's like 2-minute warning.
Trying to
Oh,
win,
fuck,
dude.
I haven't
trying
talked yet.
to win.
Yeah, you drew a better team. Congratulations.
I did actually
Yeah,
draw a better
it-
team.
it was-
I can't do anything about
It was
that.
a
The
bit
year
of a
pick,
lot.
I'm not gonna lie. I think this was a bad idea on your part. No offense. I don't think we should have gotten to pick like a ringer like that.
Well, there were like 8 in there. So, because it was
That's the first one.
it was initially
Oh,
designed for 3 people.
yeah.
There were 8 in there, and I drew Ben fucking Stein and Tara Lipinski.
Yeah.
We're playing for his
Dale
money.
Earnhardt.
That's
I mean,
what you
you-
should have done. If you beat him, you don't get his money.
You did great with what you had.
Best
Like I
good work.
said, it was very close. It really came down to Phil Jackson and your coach.
Red Auerbach.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try and emulate that. Feels like I have to put an accent on to say it,
A little bit. It is Boston. So.
but they were both great. It is Rayner by a hair.
By the height of Tara Lipinski. She really does. The only thing she does now is like the Kentucky Derby, and she does fashion at the Kentucky Derby. It's weird.
I found the Tom Brady.
Okay. So, here, just by so much shit, by me fucking judging the goddamn sports debate,
Please pick best jersey as a question.
what are the best jersey colors?
Well, it's Kelly green and white. Fuck everybody.
Okay, I'm gonna think for a second since you jumped so fast. I'm gonna use that to my advantage here.
Home or away?
So I can use both, I guess.
Home or away?
So I have to argue
One
either
set.
the away jersey or the home jersey.
Yes.
Kelly green and white.
State the question exactly again so I answer this correctly.
best jersey colors, home or away?
So when I answer with my color, I can argue the team that it is and why the color is important, or I am only arguing color. I can't even talk about the team. I mean, clearly he's talking about Marshall, so he probably wants to say some hometown stuff in there, but can he say it, or is it simply about that? Because, I mean, I have a really good color argument.
You can only pick the home or away jersey that it uses. That's, I think, the biggest caveat here.
Right.
So the team does matter then, because I mean, if we're choosing home or away, then the team does matter because it depends on who the team is and why it's home or away.
It does.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna go with. And you said I have to choose home or away.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. I'm gonna go with Oregon Ducks home jerseys, and this is football specifically that I'm talking about. They have like this.
Oh, wait.
Well, it's speed round.
We haven't given someone the delegation of timer.
Okay.
Got
You
you.
do it, my phone.
Kalen's got it.
30 seconds, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 15
I'm going away jersey, by the way.
Alright, 30
Not home.
seconds.
Away
Who's-
jersey.
Who's going first?
Brian is
for
going
Marshall.
first.
Alright.
You didn't know.
30 seconds starting now.
No,
Oh.
it's when he starts talking. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, it's so.
Okay.
Be ready to hit start
Okay.
when he says a word.
Okay.
I am going with the home colors for the Oregon Ducks, which are this highlighter yellow, green, and black. It's the most badass combination in all of sports. They're actually sponsored by Jordan, which is a huge part of this because Jordan always wants to look good. When they first broke these jerseys out, it almost broke the TV. All of social media blew up and said, you've got to go watch this game right now. And when you flipped it there, your eyes almost melted because you saw these highlighters mixed with black and green. It was the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. Jordan gives them a color combination of over 120 options for every home game that they have.
That was not very loud. There we go.
I got them.
You did.
Marshall's away, full whites with the green numbers, white helmet with the Kelly green is the sexiest uniform combination probably I've ever seen. I'm not coming from a homer. Just the clean whites on a field that's not theirs. They are looking fly. They got that green number that pops on that white. It's not, you're not going to get mixed up with anything else. You're going to be able to read it. It just looks really good. It's a big contrast of the green and white. It's a white and green. Nobody else uses Kelly green. It is our own color, not like they own it or anything. With Oregon, though, good, perfect.
No, you said 15?
Yes.
Okay.
They might not use Kelly green, but there are teams that use white and green. The New York Jets almost look just like Marshall. This other color is unique. Highlighter yellow, green, and black is the most unique color in all of sports. That's why it almost broke TV when it went out. Nobody else looks like them. Nobody had seen it before. They get all these color combinations.
Oregon jerseys are actually Nike, which is different than Jordan, so they get a different jersey basically every home game. They don't even keep the same color. Sometimes they'll be brown or gold or something like that. At least Marshall keeps it fucking the same color when they're away, white and green. They're not changing. They're not using their influence with Nike, which again, Oregon has different jerseys every week.
Wish I could get a fact check.
Yeah.
On the jerseys?
Yeah. Does Oregon use different jerseys for their home games? You went home, right?
They for home games, Oregon is sponsored by Jordan brand, which is a Nike brand, but they're sponsored by Jordan, and Jordan gives them
That was the other thing I wanted to fact check on.
yeah, they give them like 130 color combination or something like absurd.
They have a different jersey every week. That's
They're known as like the craziest, like as far as like colors and all that shit goes. I mean, the debate's over at this point, but
Let's see. Home football jersey. Let's see. If I bring it up on Google, this is what it shows me. Lots of green. But then this comes up too. These are all different motherfuckers. Yeah. So make of that what you will.
okay.
I don't know.
They might be Jordan. I know Michigan went Jordan.
The Oregon football program is known for the fact that they almost never wear the same uniform twice.
I know what jerseys you're talking about, though.
Fucking
The bright ass
You
green
remember
ones
when it
with
happened?
the
Like, yeah.
oh,
Seriously,
yeah.
the world did blow up. Everyone's like, what the fuck is going on?
So if Rayner wouldn't have brought that up, I would give the point to Brian, but it seems like the inconsistency, I'm going to give it to Rayner.
Wait, what's to be brought up? I'm confused.
That they change their jerseys almost every game. So the jerseys you were talking about, they wore for like
Once.
a game, pretty much.
Just Googled them and just shown him a picture.
Yeah, you would shit if you saw it.
I know the Oregon jerseys, dude. They're crazy. One time they did like a pink, like a black and pink one time for like cancer
Yeah,
awareness.
So the point goes to Rayner.
Yes.
Right. We are neck and neck.
Yeah, it's great, man. Having a fucking blast over here.
In the last quarter.
Jesus Christ.
Boston Red Sox,
Got
baby.
my fucking misery over here.
Neck and neck in the last quarter. 3-3.
You're the man, Colin. NC double C over there. NC fucking Catman in the house.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
What team has the worst fans?
The New England Patriots.
The Dallas Cowboys.
You're both wrong. But let's hear it.
I should have gone West Virginia, but anyway. Let
There's
me know
lots
when
of great answers here.
Let me know when the 30 seconds is ready.
It's ready whenever you are.
The Dallas Cowboy fans are by far the worst. Every year they're like, we're the best team ever. And you know what? Since 1996, they haven't even made it to the NFC Championship game. They always blame their coach. They always blame their players. They never blame the one thing that is a problem, and that's Jerry Jones. Every year, they're the biggest fans, they're the biggest homers, and as soon as you say something bad about them or that they're bad, they get all fucking whiny and hooty-toity, oh, we won Super Bowls before, blah, 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 blah. Fuck the Dallas Cowboys and fuck their fans. They have no idea.
The New England Patriots fans are the worst in probably all of sports because, simply put, they are the biggest bandwagons in the world. The Patriots have only been good for the last 15 years. They were nobodies before that. Absolute nobodies. So before that, all of these people that are calling themselves fans now, they didn't even know the team existed. Nobody has photos of themselves wearing Pats jerseys. No one gave a fuck about the Pats, and now suddenly everybody does. One of my best friends, he has liked the Pats only since they started winning Super Bowls. When you get on social media and girls want to act like they like football, it's the Pats.
They might be bandwagoners, but they always win. Dallas Cowboy fans can't accept the fact that they're bad. They think they're the best team ever. At least New England, they are the best team in the last decade, the last 2 decades. Cowboys fans are just so delusional on what they expect and what can happen that they throw in your face.
The reason the Dallas Cowboys have so many fans because they have epic players, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, they go back, Roger Staubach, even years and years ago. Patriots only have what is right now, and that's why they have these fans right now. All these fans are cookie-cutter fans. When you meet someone out, a girl doesn't know shit about sports, she says, I love the Patriots.
I should have said West Virginia Outdoors. I fucked up.
I would have been willing to let you go again because I thought of another good answer too. I would have let you reboot it and I would have went.
Yeah, that's so close. I'll let you both have another 15
Fair enough.
Overtime.
With the same answer or
Yeah.
with a different answer?
with the same answer.
Okay.
So I go first. Right? That'd be
You
it.
start
Let me think, please. Should I get it on? Sports
Seven.
TV stations have to pander to Cowboys fans. First story is always like, all Dak, all Jerry, because there's so many of them, and they have to have their instant gratifications. Patriot fans can kind of get away with it because they win. Dallas Cowboy fans think they can win. They think they're the greatest, and they're not, and they don't accept that in any sense.
The reason the Cowboys have so many fans, especially in the older crowds, because they have all these iconic players that I named before, Aikman, Staubach, etc. The Patriots don't have any of that. So everybody that's a Patriots fan now, they're cookie cutter fans. They only watch the latest Super Bowls, and now they're fans. They don't have old photos of them in Patriots gear. The Cowboys fans do.
Okay.
To quickly interject, Ali is the greatest.
It is old hat versus bandwagoners, and I am going to give it to bandwagoners.
Nice.
I
do
feel
hate
like that is
Patriots.
the worst fan. The Chicago Cubs is the correct answer.
No, dude, you just feel bad for them all the time. Except for the Steve Bartman thing.
I had a really good answer after I said Patriots so fast, but
That's why I went Dallas just to like.
you guys may or may not know this. Get this. This is fucking crazy and hilarious. This will probably just win any debate just because it's so crazy. The Philadelphia Eagles,
Fuck them.
Threw snowballs.
They're-
Snowballs at Santa.
their fans are known as being so disgusting and terrible. They're the only NFL team in the history of the game, still to date, that put a gel in the bottom of their stadium so that they could arrest their fans and then throw them in jail to get them out of it. How fucking crazy
Was
is
it
that?
the last Super
That
Bowl?
would have been a good argument.
They
like,
grease the poles up because people
they're
climb
bastards,
their
man.
poles.
They're fucking
They
bastards.
throw fucking snowballs at Santa Claus. Like, that's a great
So
answer.
it is game point for Brian.
I would have gone WVU because all those people from Boone County have never gone to high school, but they went WVU.
Okay, this is a yes or no, so be ready. Because if you don't answer first, you're stuck with maybe the one you don't
What if I want to say maybe?
No, it's yes or no. Should professional wrestling be considered a sport?
yes.
So
No!
arguing no.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I can hear Luke stomping down the stairs now.
Should professional Professional wrestling shouldn't be a sport because of all the different antics and storylines behind it. It's more of a reality TV program where they kind of fight each other in a more choreographed thing. Yes, they might be athletes. Yes, they might be taking their body to the line. But just because of the drama and all this stupid shit that happens, like in the locker room and with the owner and all this stuff, it's more reality TV programming than an actual sport. So I don't consider it a sport. I consider it more entertainment. It's more drawn to the fans than the actual wrestlers. They're just performing and trying to entertain and show their stories.
Sports are about entertainment, and entertainment for fans is what sports are. Simply put, wrestlers make money, they train, they're athletic, they have certain players that you root for. These players have cards, they have figurines, they're larger than life, and like you said, they've got fans. Everything I just said is what a sport is. You've got guys flipping off of the top rope, doing all these athletic moves. They're a sport. You can't say that that guy's not playing a sport. Of course it's a sport. It's not fake when he's doing these flips through the air.
A sport is fake, though, when the champion is already predetermined and every match is predetermined to end in a certain way. That takes the entire idea of sport out because there is no competition. They're just trying to fill out these storylines to continue on to the next. Unlike any other sport or any other hobby almost where you do battle it out based on your wits, not just what is...
You are only talking about traditional sports. You're saying traditional sports don't have a winner already picked. I'm drawing it back and saying a sport in general involves someone being athletic, someone training, someone making money to the masses. Commercials are making money, the athletes are making money, the people gathering the fights are making money.
Already did it once. 15 more seconds to both of you.
The whole idea of sport is to have a winner and loser. You're supposed to be athletic. You're supposed to train. You're not just out there to make money. A lot of sports, weightlifting, all you can throw chess, running track, they're not making money for everybody else. They're out there to compete and win. Wrestling just takes that away. They might act like they're competing, but there's always a set winner and set loser.
What do you do for sporting events? You buy a sporting ticket. You buy a ticket to a wrestling match. The wrestling match is on TV. It creates money. It generates entertainment. And most importantly, you've got athletes doing athletic things. All of those things make it a sport. You've got players that are flipping off of things.
Okay. I'll admit, I don't know if maybe I got something in my head that I wanted to hear, and I even gave you 15 more seconds to hear it. Brian, from you, I wanted to hear something that was like, sure, the champion's predetermined, but it's from their athletic. Like, they predetermine it based on their skill.
I don't want to answer the door at someone else's
Um,
house.
I'm going to give the point to Rayner. Just because I feel like to have a sports champion that's predetermined is a little less sporty.
It's a fantastic argument. It's the only chance you even had was to make that argument.
That's
Yeah.
I
It's the only
would. I
chance you
wanted
had.
to say yes. Like,
Yeah, it's the only chance you had. I mean, that was all I had to argue against. Everything else was just like fucking common sense.
Yeah,
Game point.
we're smart, me and you.
Oh, what's a good one? Best mascot? No.
Did you already change it?
No, I didn't.
Raina got the point.
Yep, 4-4. Game point. All right. This is another either or. So if first one's taken,
Yeah. That's,
professional or college athleticism.
Professional.
college.
I feel you would have went that route anyways. Would you? Yeah,
I was-
we got our answer that we
was
wanted.
thinking. College athletics, I think, are better than pros because it's more of a love of the game than actually playing as a job. It brings communities more together because there are so many more teams. The game might not be better, but the idea and the community involvement is. It's fun to watch. There are great players. You're going to see people that are going to be professionals. You're going to see professionals move on to another level. They're going to quit. So you can actually see these athletes move on to the next level of the sport you like and see how they do there. So you get to go into that.
There's nothing in the world like saying you're the best of the best. These athletes play college sports to make it to professional. Their goal of being a collegiate athlete is to be a professional athlete. The comparison is nil. It's awful to watch a college sport where you feel like you could compete with the people out there, comparing it to a professional sport where these guys seem like gods on the field. The best collegiate players end up becoming professional players because that's their whole goal. They want to be the best of the best, and only the best of the best make it. And there's nothing better than watching all of the best compete against each other.
A majority of college athletes aren't there to be pros. They're there to continue playing, and they know, and they get to, learn a new career, do that. They get to continue playing. They get a foot in the door to do other things, coaching, stuff like that. Pros do it for a paycheck. I hate to say they might love the game, but they're not going to play if they're not getting paid millions of dollars. College kids do it. They love it.
As you said earlier, the point of sport is to win. It's to dominate. There is no more domination than training on the professional level. College players don't even belong on the same field, and they know it. So only the best of the best make it professional, and we all want to see the best of the best compete. Everybody wants to see the best of every sport go at it.
Why are you yelling?
Is that chicken? Can I have a chicken one? Okay.
Oh wait, you said Brian. No, I'm just kidding.
To Brainer.
I'm just kidding.
Giving the point to Briner.
There we go.
To Briner. Everyone's a winner.
Get a little trophy.
It's what you said about you want to watch the sport with the best of the best playing it. Like,
I strongly feel that too, man. I feel it when I go watch sports. I'm like, God damn it, these guys fucking suck out here.
Yeah.
sure, a
Yeah.
college sport can bring a community together and whatever. And you can, like, rally behind a player if, you know, they happen to be part of that 4 years that you have a good player at your school. But ultimately, I mean, let's face it, if you're playing fucking college basketball, you're wanting to go on to do professional basketball in some capacity.
Yeah, I think basketball actually they probably have the most professional athletes besides maybe baseball.
Or
you can go
football,
overseas.
or-
Football, you're kind of fucked.
That's your dream.
Yeah,
you're playing it. And college is where you root them out to get them into the pros. So of course a pro game is going to probably be more exciting. I'm sure there are many exceptions.
I wouldn't say it's more exciting. It's better.
Yeah.
That's a big.
You're looking for quality of product.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
think
what you
it's
get with
better, but
professional.
you can't say exciting like
Yeah,
you
well,
want.
people
but
get excited for different
you can,
things.
Yeah,
so,
you can. There's exciting.
Well,
things
it's
no matter
exciting
what.
in college basketball. Like Marshall, we had that guy that looked like someone's dad that went out there.
Yeah,
That's pretty fucking
that's
exciting. You're like,
exciting.
what's going to happen
Yeah.
to this guy?
Yeah.
You know,
I think
holy
he fouled,
shit,
he
what a
actually,
turn!
I'm
This is
pretty sure
crazy.
he fouled out. That was
Right,
the best
he did,
part.
he did.
And
totally
I'm
just
sure
went
that
out
there
and
are,
fouled.
in fact, college games that have happened in years that were like the best game of that year, even
Yeah.
above professional. But that's a fluke.
Pro's right. That was the right answer, I think.
Man, you gave
I came back.
a tough debate. It pissed me
Brian
off,
thought he'd be
man.
gone in an hour.
I was like, surely I can't lose this. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
No, that was hard fought.
It was hard
that
fought.
was
It was really hard fought.
Y'all want to eat some more hot sauce
Well,
to
good job.
friction away this
Good job, dude.
debate?
That was awesome.
I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna go warm up a chicken wing and slather some on.
I might like drink a beer or something if you're not going anywhere.
I'm gonna go somewhere.
Okay.
But after we're done here.
Okay.
But yeah, have a beer.
yeah, dude, drink a good old natty. So I think that's all we got.
That's exactly what I'll do. Oh.
That was a close debate. The closest one we've had in a while.
Dude, Rainer knows a lot about sports, and that's awesome that someone here knows a lot about sports. I just honestly, like, naturally thought coming out, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be out-debated in a sports debate. I mean, I'm not, like, obsessed with sports, but it's just, like, that's all I grew up with was sports. I felt like I had, like, a lot of knowledge back in there, but Jesus Christ did he fight hard on that. It sucked.
He has a mind like a steel trap, but sometimes that steel trap has to.
Well, he takes interesting lanes. If you truly sat like some fucking like jocks down just trying to do a debate, they'd be like, "Nah, bro, he's like the fucking best of all time, bro. Have you seen him like dunk?" And like Rainer doesn't go that route at all, so it makes it harder on me because I'd like to just put someone down like that real easily.
Right.
I can put them out of their misery easily, but it's like Rainer's like gonna say something really weird that I didn't even expect in a million years. Like, what? Huh? Now I gotta think. Damn it.
He's smarter than he acts.
What I do? You call me stupid, Colin?
No one called you
Yeah, see,
stupid.
Colin.
Yeah, that's me.
You are very intelligent. Sometimes you just don't act like it.
Well, that's called life, I guess. I am a Marshall and Minnesota Vikings fan, so I already make bad decisions. I guess.
Dude, what should I do with my fantasy quarterback this week? I'm gonna tell you my exact scenario.
Okay.
And you give me your honest answer. And
Matthew
We are
Stafford.
still streaming.
Take your
No.
home team out of this.
Okay.
I have Lamar Jackson as my quarterback, which is great for me.
Yeah.
But who's he playing this week?
Bill Belichick.
Exactly. That's bad for me.
Who else you got?
My bench is Kirk Cousins, who's playing the Chiefs, who can't defend the
So-
pass, but they also can't defend the run, and
We
they're
will,
also
like,
playing
the reviews
in
of that
Kansas
hot
City,
sauce.
and I'm worried about
A lot
swirling
of
wins.
people
Seriously, I really am worried
just
about that.
drench it
Kirk Cousins.
over wings. Cousins.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think
it's,
I can
it's
start.
Kirk Cousins.
I don't think I can start Lamar. Okay, so now let's move
Lamar,
on.
I listened to
Yeah, I
ESPN radio, and there was some
I'm
stat
thinking about
where,
buying
I think it was
those
Will
$20.
Kane, whoever was on. He was like,
Belichick just takes them out.
Belichick has never allowed a quarterback to run over like 60 yards on him.
Wow. So
at
this would be
all.
like the first time ever. It's like
So if Lamar Jackson does it, that's he deserves all his credit, but he's not.
I just-
They're gonna take him out of the
Yeah.
game, and they have nobody.
I-
Help, Rainer.
I feel like even in his best scenario, Lamar Jackson drops like 15 fantasy points, whereas Kirk Cousins'
Kirk
best scenario is like 45
Yeah,
points.
I think
He has a higher ceiling, right? Isn't
I
that what you
think Kirk is a better play just because even if they get in the red zone, that play action pass
Okay.
will work with the worst pass defense.
Okay,
in the
plan B here. Part B of this question.
Okay.
So now we're at Kirk Cousins. Do I go to the waivers and pick up Sam Darnold, who's playing
No.
against the Dolphins?
league. No, he's awful.
No, man.
He's awful.
Playing the
Wash
Dolphins.
your hands before you touch
The Dolphins only allowed 17 points to the Redskins. They also Mason Rudolph kind of looked like shit except for one like fluke play where they dropped everybody back and he scored a touchdown.
I guess
It's a
I'm
James
just gonna
Conner
go with
show.
fucking Cousins.
Kirk
man.
Cousins is a good play.
I'm gonna message you and cry about it if it fails.
It's okay. I got to start the Vikings defense against Kansas City, but they don't have Patrick
Can't you
Mahomes.
pick someone up off the waivers?
Nope, I don't want to drop the Vikings. They're like the third best
Jesus
defense
Christ,
this
dude.
year.
Are we still streaming?
Yeah.
Oh.
Also, fantasy fun
Yeah,
fact:
y'all never really did a.
10 players have
closer.
scored more
Thought we were gonna
than
do it.
the
Oh, yeah.
Patriots
Thing.
defense this year.
I know,
Actual
right?
players,
Right? Isn't that
So some
crazy?
guy that's winning our league, he has a Patriots defense because it was his last pick of the year.
Yeah,
He's like,
fucking
yeah,
crazy.
fuck it, we'll pick it.
We're gonna do a little hot sauce closer.
Okay.
If that's cool with you.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
My bad, I already ate mine.
Well, he ate his. Here are some Doritos if y'all would like to.
Is the
Yeah, give me
idea
some
to
on
say
a-
what we think
on a
of it?
Dorito, if you don't care.
Is that where we're going with it, or is it just a cheers
Oh, yeah.
like a shot? You know.
I mean, it's hot.
This is a
and-
tortilla chip.
It's
generic
hot and
bread.
kind of not enjoyable, but it's not the worst thing I've ever had. You want a sauce your own?
Yeah. I'll sauce my own Dorit.
You want one? You want to try it?
It's
Right too.
very good.
It's not that bad. I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
but your spice tolerance is like up here, and I was like, no.
Well, I think like Aubrey Plaza ate it, and she totally doesn't eat spicy foods.
Fuck
I don't
her.
think. And you're prettier, so.
No.
Wow,
You're
prettier than
lying.
Aubrey Plaza. That's
Yeah.
an awesome compliment, man. That's like
Yeah.
really great. Do Doritos
Nope. Tortilla chips.
No.
imply the existence of Dorit feet? Oh my god.
Oh, you fucked up. You done goofed. You done goofed.
I'm gonna goof too, but on
Alright,
purpose.
Now you fucked up.
Well,
Now you fucked up.
His mag has.
you went too early.
I can smell the heat.
Oops. There we
You
go.
already had some, didn't you?
Yeah. It's delicious, actually.
No,
I'm
it's actually
excited to eat
really,
it.
it's really good sauce.
All right.
It's really good. Good job, Caitlin. It's actually really tasty sauce.
Oh yeah, we were saying that before you came in when he was eating it when he wasn't supposed to. Oh, sorry.
1 whole minute.
I would have lied to you, just FYI. I'll do it again too. I'll lie to you again.
Not
for
mad.
Randy.
I want to save some. Jesus.
Oh, this is the last I'm ever going to taste of it.
It's the last stab. I won't keep it at work.
I think the website.
All right.
All right,
Cheers,
mine.
y'all.
I didn't know Matt was going to eat a chip, so.
What's the website? Shout it out.
I think it's Heat.
The Heatonist.
Yeah,
The
Heatonist.
Asianist?
Yeah.
and the last dab sauces go on sale like a very limited amount of time because
Yeah.
And these
they're
are the
popular.
people on
Hot ones.
Hot Ones.
Yeah, so I signed
Hit
up
us
for, like,
up,
the
Hot
email
Ones.
alert for when that went on.
It's
sale.
fucking delicious.
It is a goddamn good hot sauce.
Cheers, everybody. I'm ready.
Cheers.
Sponsor us.
I'm
Salud.
sorry I didn't
Yeah.
know you were eating the chip. It is spicy. It does make
I'm
Alright,
me.
gonna
that's
get
fine.
the Pocky One chips.
All right, we good?
That would be
Chip
good too.
challenge.
Wow.
Oh, Brian. Watch his podcast. Holler.
Yeah, if you're watching right now, we're still the Snappy Hour. We just did our last episode last night, and you can still find us via the Snappy Hour. That page is going to change eventually. So everyone that's already following it, you'll notice you're just going to wake up one day, it's going to be called Holler. So,
What
the
the
Snappy
fuck?
Hour. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Where the fuck's my memes?
All right.